Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Your weekly dose of romance and drama has arrived. Season 29 of The Bachelor is here, and Grant Ellis, certified hottie and former day trader, is trading his day job on Wall Street for a second chance at everlasting love. New episodes drop every Monday at 8/7 Central, bringing you fresh twists in Grant's journey to find his soulmate. This self-proclaimed mama's boy is all grown up and ready to invest his heart. Will his playful charm win over the house full of hopefuls, or will the competition prove too intense? From heartfelt moments to adrenaline-pumping dates, each week brings new surprises in the mansion. Will Grant find his perfect match or end up with a broken heart? Tune in every Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu for new episodes of The Bachelor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on part 2 of a crazy episode.
Boy.
If you listened last week, and you know that we
This
just heard
fella.
so much the fighting and fucking and craziness. There's more this week. It doesn't stop. The debauchery will not stop this week.
It will only get worse.
It'll only get worse with Joe Pepitone part 2.
Yeah.
Something really, I mean, this is one where, like, he's not getting arrested a lot, but he's telling us all about these horrible crimes he's committed.
Yeah.
There's some this week that are just like, wow, that's very illegal. That's
his own words.
You should probably be in jail for that, but instead you wrote a book about it. Okay.
All right.
Statute of limitations are up. Quickly before we get to this, just want to say, first of all, thank you for everything that you guys do for us. If you'd like to buy merchandise or get tickets to Small Town Murder live shows, you can do that extremely easily over at shutupandgivememurder.com. Get those right now. Everything's there. You can still get the virtual live show. If we both sound a little off today, we're both sick. We got the same cold. We've been spending the week together and getting each other's illnesses. It's been romance, and it's been a real bromance. We're sharing everything this week. We're sharing dinners and shows and illnesses, and we're both
sick.
A mess. We're both a fucking disaster. So
and with the issues that I've got, there will be no shouts in this show next week.
It's been a tough week. We'll just say that. We've had a lot going on, and with the illnesses and stuff, no shouts on this show. There will be shouts. These shouts will be at the end of Small Town Murder, so you can check that out if you want to hear your name. And there will be also shouts next week. So
obviously,
thank you for that. Patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get all the bonus material. We can't tell you how much of a great value this is, honestly. Anybody $5 a month or above, you get it all. There's hundreds of back episodes of bonus stuff you get immediately, and then new episodes every other week. One Crime and Sports, one Small Town Murder.
You get it all.
You get it all. And it's all stuff that pretty much everybody will like, too. It's fun.
You want it.
You want it. This week, what we're going to talk about is gambling shit for Crime and Sports. The Ohtani debacle and how they were just like, well, I guess he's fine. I guess he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Just everything's all right. Nothing to see here. Also, the NBA guy who got kicked out. That's going to happen a lot, by the way. Yeah. You can just do it on your phone.
Oh, that's coming. Yeah.
That's coming. It's going to be, there's going to be a reckoning there.
Yeah,
they're going to have to change some rules about that because you can't advertise something and then suspend players for life for using it. That's not going to work, I don't think.
Yeah. What are we doing?
It's a little bit odd. And also some other gambling incidents that aren't Pete Rose, too. Some other ones from the 70s and stuff like that. Then for Small Town Murder, we're going way down a conspiracy theory hole here. It is rabbit hole time. Here it is. Was Charles Manson actually a CIA asset that did all of that stuff just to discredit the hippie movement. Is that a thing?
What a thought.
One guy pretty much ruined his whole career and spent like 20 years writing a book about this. So it's hilarious, and we're going to talk about it. And some of it you go, I don't know. It's pretty funny. And some other CIA-ish type stuff.
Okay.
Rabbit hole shit we're going down. It'll be fun.
Great.
That's patreon.com/crimeinsports, and you get the aforementioned shout out, but not this week. Anyway, that said, let's do it. Back into Joe Pepitone. Okay, we left off in 1959, and he's just about to go to again, there's going to be very little baseball here. Yeah. The only baseball you'll really hear about is like some pranks or something that happened in the locker room, but we're not going to talk about much on-field shit, which is wild because this is like going into the era of the early 60s Yankees with Mantle and Maris and all that kind of stuff, and we don't even have time for it. It's just not even a factor.
It's a blip.
Watch 61, that Billy Crystal made movie with Barry Pepper in it and Tom Jane from the 2000s, if you want to know more about that. So spring of 1959, he is going to the Fargo Moorhead Twins of the Class C Northern League.
Classy organization.
That's Class C. He hit 283 with 35 doubles, 12 triples, 14 homers that year. And then 1960 went up to Class A ball of the Binghamton Triplets of the Eastern League. And he's also he met a girl now that he likes named Barbara.
Hell yeah.
And he is going to really put her through the ringer and completely pretty much destroy her life for a while. Yeah, this is going to be a lot here. He says, this is from his book again, quote, "While I was seeing Barbara and waiting for the minor league spring training camp to open, I asked permission of the Yankees to work out at Miller Huggins Field with the regulars. They already had started getting in shape, and Casey Stengel was the manager."
Oh.
Stengel, Stengel is the guy. He's like Yogi Berra, where he has a million quotes that are Stengelisms, these weird quotes. He managed the Yankees for a shitload of years, all through the 40s and 50s, and he's got a ton of rings, and he's just legendary. And he's nuts. He's just a nuts old guy. He said, quote, "I was 6 feet 1 inch tall and still weighed 140 pounds. Holy
wow, that's
shit.
thin.
As a beanpole with his nose, too. That's really going to make it pop.
That's not good. Yeah.
No, he's going to look like the fucking Fruit Loops toucan. He said, "I don't think the Yankees had ever before seen a player as skinny as me. The uniform they gave me was so big it flapped." Just baggy and shit. He said, "But that wasn't why everyone was laughing at me. The uniform number was 69. Which they give you a high number.
Yeah.
If you get over 50, it means back in the day it used to mean you're not going to be here when the season starts. They give you a better number if you're lower. But nowadays some guys want that kind of shit. But 69, he said, guys kept kidding me about it, and I'd smile back, but I didn't know what the hell they meant until somebody told me. So he had no idea why they were even laughing at him.
He just thought it was a dirty number.
He thought it was, he's like, oh, I guess this is a stupid number. I guess I suck, And they're like, no, stupid. This is,
you're not going to be here.
You're not getting, no, it's not that. It's also this sexual connotation.
Right.
He knew that he thought they were laughing at him because it was high and it wasn't going to be there.
Opposite.
The opposite. He had no idea about the sexual connotation of it.
What?
No clue. He didn't know what 69 was.
How old are you?
Yeah, he just thought they were laughing at him because obviously 69 ain't going to be here in April, and instead it was they were like, "Dude, you're eating pussy and getting your blown at the same time.
You got pussy blow on your back."
Yeah, that's what's going on here. You don't get it. He said Stengel was beautiful. He called me Pepperone instead of Pepitone.
Not bad. Yeah,
Pepperone, and talked to me a mile a minute for about 10 minutes one day, and then he had me sit next to him in the dugout during an intra-squad game. "Watch this Mr. Scourin around first, Pepperone," he said. I had been watching him, and Scourin moved like a dump truck. That's Moose Scourin, by the way. It's a man named Moose. That's what they call him. So you can imagine.
It's a big fella, I imagine.
Yeah, not real light on his feet. Not a not a Gold Glover or anything.
Not a dancer.
Yeah, he said, "Casey, I'm an outfielder, but I can play first better than that." And he ends up, by the way, he's going to end up playing first and eventually replacing Scourin at first base.
Oh.
That's why he was telling him to watch. There's no room for you in the outfield because it's Mantle and Maris out there. You think you're going to break it, and then Tom Tresh, who was also a good player, not breaking into that outfield. So
not going to happen.
No. He said, in 1959, I was moved up to Class C ball playing with Fargo Moorhead, and he talks about that. He said, that fall I went back to the instructional school in St. Petersburg. only this time I stayed out of trouble. Clete Boyer, the Yankees' regular third baseman, who was at school to work on his hitting, Rich Barry and I went out quite a bit and did a lot of kidding around in the locker room. I always did a lot of kidding because I always had this tremendous need for people to like me. Okay. Barbara, though, is the girl he likes. He said, I spent most of my free time with Barbara because I was in love. Or I thought I was in love. Well, that'll happen. He said, I turned 19 on October 9th, 1959. Yeah, a lot of us think we're in love when we're 19.
It's pretty easy, yeah.
Yep. And I was finally starting to pull out, to fill out a bit. Not to pull out a bit. I was finally getting my pull-out game going. I began to look a little less like a Robin, but I was still very much a baby mentally and emotionally. We were engaged to be married in December. Jesus Christ, jumping right Already. He said it seemed like the thing to do at the time, just what I needed, until the night before the wedding when my first doubts arose in my mind. A little late for that, Chief.
Yeah, she was mean.
Yeah, he said, naturally I didn't heed them. Barbara and I never made it in all the time we'd been going together. They never fucked. They're literally going to fuck on their wedding night.
Wow.
And the night before, he's like, uh-oh. And he said, yeah, we'd never been, since we've been going together. No bawling whatsoever. Bawling. It's the old guys always call fucking bawling, which is hilarious to me. It was just a lot of hugging and kissing and getting excited and then going home and playing with myself. She said she was a virgin and that we should wait, and that was cool with me. Oh, my God. This is another time in another place right here. Wow. He said, but the night before the wedding, I was staying at the Kogerman's house, and when it got late and her parents went to bed, I snuck into Barbara's room, so at their house. And so, yeah, we started kissing and fondling and panting, and what the hell? We'd be man and wife in a few hours. I forced it, and the next thing I knew was great disillusionment. I don't know if he forced it that way or if he talked her into it or whatever the deal is, but that's not great. Then he said,
casually admits to maybe raping somebody,
possibly raping his future bride on the night before their wedding. That's an odd.
What the hell? We'll be man and wife soon.
That's not even close to the weirdest thing he's going to admit to in here. This is
boy.
Yeah. So then he said, "quote What's this about? Or what about this?" I said to her. "You said you were a virgin." I am, she said. I used to do a lot of horseback riding. Meaning, already.
What is happening? There was no blood, so he doesn't care. That's
he
the
was
question?
like, I thought you were a virgin, and if you ride horses, anybody that rides horses has no hymen. That's just
snap it right out.
Right away. That's They call this one the hymen popper. That's the big horse in the barn. We call her Hyminia. She's taken many.
Look at her back.
Look at her. Yeah, it's covered. It's really gross, but that's okay. You know what? This is what her job is. She knows it. He says, I didn't sleep much that night. I lay there thinking, should I marry this girl? Then I realized how silly I was.
Yeah.
He didn't believe her that she was a virgin. He thought she was lying to him.
She'd been lying to me this whole time.
Yeah.
She's going to lie about that. What won't she lie about?
Well, he said there were ways to lose a hymen other than through sex, and I didn't believe Barbara would lie.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was in love with Barbara, who was so pretty and so nice. I needed her. The next day,
and she just gave you sex, dude.
Yeah, she just gave you sex on the guise of we're going to be married tomorrow anyway, so you better marry her now, otherwise super shitty. The next day we were married, and I felt great, but in no time at all there were problems. We lived with her parents initially, waiting for spring training to start. Oh, that's a nightmare. They had liked me when we were going together, always welcomed me, seemed to enjoy talking to me. Then we lived with them, had a few normal newlywed disagreements, and her parents turned on me. They treated me as if I weren't there.
Well, what did you say?
So, I mean, honestly. Hey, listen. Yeah, so what? I called your daughter a filthy twat. What's the difference? I called her a lying whore, twat, fucking cunt. I don't get what the problem is.
I came home from work and I expect some dinner on the table. I don't care that it's your house.
I don't care who cooks it. It's just dinner. You know what I mean? You can cook it if you want.
I expect her to cook it, but if you want to cook it, that's fine too.
I want to help you do it. I procure dinner. That's what I want. I don't care where it comes from. Dinner on table. January 5th, 1960 is the wedding day here. It's funny, too. They here is from a Binghamton sports writer. Described him as darkly handsome. Pepitone stood at 6'2" and weighed 178 pounds. Once boasting a head of curly hair, he conformed to baseball's shorter, sometimes shorn style, but not voluntarily. After Pepitone refused a mandate to get a haircut, the Yankee management took matters into their own hands and clippers to ensure Pepitone's shorter locks.
They just did it on their own.
They full metal jacketed him, basically.
Yeah.
They just pinned him down and were like, let's go, Pyle. Fucking here comes the hair.
It's your choice.
I mean,
your way or our way.
That's how the Yankees were, though. I mean, they were, Jesus Christ, they were
like
pretty. They still
like
are.
that
You're still not allowed to have a beard.
Yeah, right.
You can have a dumb, puffy child molester Fred Goldman mustache.
Yeah,
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Perfectly. You can look like an insane carnival barker.
Yeah.
And they're happy with that. But you can't just have a normal, nicely trimmed beard. Like,
yeah.
That's wild to me.
They
Always
shaved
has
Johnny Damon down, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They made him shave down, which he needed to, by the way. He looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
He was getting real James Harden-y out there. It was like, okay, he's starting to look dirty now. That's enough.
They brought his ass over from the Red Sox and said, not in our clubhouse, pal.
So
Leave that shit outside.
We'll give you $140 million, but Clippers are by the door. So he said, the more depressed I got, the worse my attitude got. I began playing like I didn't give a shit, which I did, but this was kind of a defense, I guess. I stopped hustling after balls, stopped running as hard as I could on grounders I hit to the infield. It just got so bad the Yankees sent a special coach to talk to me, Bill Skiff. My average was around 220. I'd show no power, and it looked like I wasn't even trying.
Who is he, Samson?
See, they cut his hair. No, the hair came later, but he's just depressed. He doesn't like living with his fucking in-laws that hate him, and I don't know what his deal is here. Joe's an emotional guy. Yeah, he's an emotional guy, too.
Wears it on his sleeve, James.
Yep, he does, and on his head, too, as we'll find out. He wears something on his head.
What?
Skiff came over to me after a game and said, "What's the problem, Joe?" "The problem is I'm all fucked up," I said. That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
I said, feeling the moisture swell behind my eyes, "Baseball's all fucked up and I want to go home. Fuck the Yankees."
What?
That's what he told him. "Fuck the Yankees," he said hotly. "Listen, you clown, the Yankees are the best organization in baseball and you're damn lucky to be with them. They sent me here special just to help you out. Now stop feeling sorry for yourself and start playing baseball, goddammit."
There's no crying in baseball.
No crying in baseball. That's how depression was treated in 1959. That's the baseball version of cheer up, bitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Here, I'll write it down like a prescription if you'd like. Cheer up, comma, bitch. There you go. Enjoy.
They're the best organization in baseball, and you're sitting here crying? How dare you?
Yeah, you have a job, motherfucker. Like back in the day, they didn't understand that. Yeah.
Get out and swing the fucking bat, you dipshit.
And the older generations don't really understand any kind of depression. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't understand feelings. Fuck depression.
No, it's me. If I told my grandmother, if I told Italian grandma I'm depressed, she'd go, "For what? What are you talking about? Like, are you starving? Is the SS hunting you down? What the fuck do you care?"
1920? What depression?
Yeah, there's no depression. What do you mean? Yeah, she would not have that at all. You have food, don't you? I don't know what the problem is. Like, what's your story? So
smile. The sun will come out. Maybe tomorrow.
Apparently it worked.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they saw. They gave him the Annie song, and they said, well, yeah, the sun will come out tomorrow. And the following spring, I hit well in Florida around 500 with power.
Wow.
They told him, shut the fuck up, quit being a little bitch. And he was like, okay. And then he started hitting.
I will.
Yeah. I made the Amarillo Ball Club in the Texas League, AA ball, even though I started slowly and didn't get down on myself. I had my confidence now, and I knew that if I kept taking my natural swing, the hits would start coming. Yeah. So he did it. For the Amarillo Gold Sox, he hit .316 with 21 homers and 87 ribbies, which is pretty fucking good. He does very well here. He's on the Texas League All-Star team and all that. And he also had some fun.
How so?
Well, quote, "Texas was where I started banging around a bit at night."
Like gals? Or
hanging out,
drinking?
fucking, both, drinking and fucking, as most players did when we were on the road. I didn't have a lot of luck picking up chicks, but the hooker scene was fun.
I've been there. All right.
Particularly in San Antonio. You're not a pay-for-it guy, though.
No, I'm just saying I've been there where that
where it seems like an option at that point.
It's absolutely an option. 100% I would.
The difference is you didn't, and they did.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not bad. This San Antonio hooker scene's fine. Because that's where he said, particularly in San Antonio. He said, hell, just hanging around saloons in San Antonio was fun. One night
what year?
1960.
Wow.
Must have been some wild times back then, because
1960 saloons.
Amarillo's wild now. That
Yeah.
must have been crazy shit back then. He said, one night after a bunch of drinks, another player named Joe Miller and I came into the hotel where the club was staying at about 4 a.m. Sheriff Robinson was our manager, and he relied on the elevator operator at this hotel to report the late players. We hated that stool pigeon, who was this night asleep in a chair just outside the elevator. We got down on the floor, crawled past him into the car, and closed the door. It banged shut, woke up the old stool pigeon, and he started hollering. We took the elevator up, but stopped between the third and fourth floors.
Smart move.
I climbed through the trap door in the ceiling and pried open the door to the fourth floor. These guys are insane.
What the? See what pussy will do to you?
Dude, the Jim Bouton book, they talk about beaver shooting that they would do, which was peeping Tom shit. These are some of the most famous people in the world. There's Mickey Mantle is on the roof of a hotel with binoculars and a bunch of guys giggling like they're 12, running around trying to see in windows to see girls undressing. That's literally what they were doing.
Doing incredibly illegal things.
Guys like hanging off the flagpole, like, I mean, incredibly dangerous. There could be a story in the morning. Mickey Mantle plummets to death from hotel roof, and he was just trying to look at some pussy. That's crazy. That's
it's
insane.
Baseball fucking Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
That's how they all used to be.
Dirtbags.
Jim Bouton said guys used to have beaver shooting kits. Kits where they'd have different, different, like a
beaver
telescope,
shoots.
a thing, beaver shoots. Yeah, they had little hand drills to drill through hotel walls to see into people's rooms and shit. Yeah, little mirrors that they could see into, like, under doors. The hotel
Aaron
door.
Andrews kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what they were
Wow.
doing. But they were all doing it. They just thought it was good fun back then.
I guess the difference is they're not recording it and jerking off to
No.
it later or selling it. They're just
putting it online.
They're just spank banking it for later.
But
Are they tugging right then?
No. It was
Okay.
It was fun. It was just like a thing to get away with.
I saw it. Yeah.
Like he, and they'd run away giggling like they were 12.
I don't understand.
I don't get it. I don't know. Different atmosphere. Then again, even in like early 80s movies, every teen movie has the boys doing something to look, Porky's looking into the shower, and that was considered like, hey, if they can see it, then that's a win.
Oh, boy.
Cover up that pussy if you don't want it seen. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't tell you. Never have it out. Never unsheath it.
Keep it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Do it at home and make sure the doors are locked and the windows are closed. I don't know what to say.
Never shower.
No, man. So he's prying open the door here up to the fourth floor. Joe Miller climbed up behind me and we looked through the peephole of the door. All you could see was the shaft, no car. We snuck down to the third floor and checked the peephole there. It's perfect, I said. Let's go to bed. So they were looking the peephole of the elevator doors, and you couldn't see the elevator. So it looked like the elevator was nowhere because it was right in between the floors. So the old stool pigeon called our manager, Sheriff Robinson, and said, one of your goddamn players stole my elevator. Because he can't find it. He can't find it. So he said, how the hell can anyone steal an elevator? Have you been drinking? Is what the sheriff said. What the fuck is wrong with you? He said, no, I've been sleeping and my elevator's gone. I checked every floor and it's gone. One of your goddamn players took it. An elevator. An entire elevator.
How did he take that?
That would be hard. A little while later, the phone in my room woke me up. I looked at my watch and said into the phone, who the fuck is this at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
I hear, you know who it is. This is, it's Skip Robinson. And very loudly, he said, quote, I want you to tell me why you stole the hotel elevator.
Where's the elevator?
And what the hell you did with it. Where is it? This is
we
great.
Can't even find it.
You stole it. Would you sell it?
Where'd you leave it?
Did you pawn the elevator at 4 o'clock in the morning? He said, Skip, what the hell are you talking about? I've been asleep for hours. Why do you call me and blame me? It really pisses me off that I get blamed for everything.
He's got to do that, though.
The manager said, don't try to talk your way out of it, Peppy. I know you stole that goddamn elevator. And he said, Skip, I didn't steal no elevator. He said, damn it, let me talk to Miller. Put him on the phone.
Why don't you find Willy Wonka? Maybe he wrote it out.
I don't know. Up through the ceiling. Is there a hole in the roof? Check. You might have kidnapped a child and taken him on a little weird Jeffrey Epstein air tour. We don't know. Willy Wonka, the original Epstein.
Yeah. It's like Child 7.
It is. Just gone.
7 for kids.
Oh, my God. So he says, he's asleep, Skip. And he says, wake him up. Said Joe Miller had his face in his pillow to muffle the laughter, but he got control of himself and took the phone. Yeah, he's dying laughing. Hell no, Skip. Peppy didn't steal no elevator. We've been in the room since 11 o'clock. I swear. And then you hear a pause, and he says, okay, good night, Skip.
See you tomorrow.
That's it. They didn't know. So they said the hotel manager and the old stool pigeon finally opened the lobby elevator door and looked up the shaft and saw the car. But they had a hell of a time getting to it. Down with stoolies, he says.
He's got to climb down to it.
He's got to, this is probably some older fat guy now. He's got to climb through a fucking, he's probably terrified.
A guy that sleeps on a fucking stool, James.
Yeah, literally. A stool pigeon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He said 1962 was spring training, and he's going, this was after the 61 Yankees and all that kind of thing, and, huge deal. So he goes to the Yankees in 1961. He's going to have some kids here, too, as we'll talk about. Out of this one, he's going to have a son, Joe Jr., of course.
Hell yeah.
Of course, Joe Pepitone Jr. will be born around this time, and BJ Pepitone as well.
Really?
And then he'll have daughters later on with somebody else. So we'll talk about
that J stands for Joseph. In that
probably,
one.
Yeah, it's probably is. It's probably like Brian Joseph or something.
Yep.
His daughter, with Barbara, he has, I believe, Eileen and Joe Jr., and then he has the rest with somebody else. Right. So 1962, and this is a thing they used to do back in the day. I've heard this from a lot of old players' books and shit, is if you're a rookie, you get no calls from the umps.
What? Oh?
The umps.
Oh.
The umps
haze
you worse than the players do, by far.
Really?
Yeah, they fuck with you. They don't give you shit. You haven't earned anything.
Yeah. Is that part of why being a rookie and being a real good rookie is such a impressive thing?
Well, you just have to not really, because you just have to swing a lot as a rookie. That's your thing, which is good because people will probably throw you a lot of strikes because they're not afraid of you. So
they don't know you.
That's why guys have great rookie years and terrible sophomore years. Is because they're throwing you curveballs in your sophomore year. Yeah. Usually your rookie year, you'll be hitting behind someone who's really good, and they're not afraid of you. So you're getting a lot of fastballs down the middle, which is the easiest thing for a hitter to hit. So
and if you miss it, if they miss the plate, you're getting ahead of the count fast.
That's that too. So exactly, they're just not afraid of you. You're gonna have to put it in there. You have to you have to hit yourself into getting a reputation that you don't want to throw it down the middle to you. So he said, my first at bat in the majors taught me a lesson. The first pitch was way up around my shoulders, and the ump said strike.
Oh.
I stepped out of the box, turned to the ump, and said, what the fuck is this? Which, your first at bat is a good way to get thrown out.
Yeah.
No, the pitch was at my shoulders. They got better umpires in the minors, is what he said to the umpire. He stepped right over to me, his face 6 inches from mine. Listen, you guinea bastard. From now on, you better be swinging at every pitch, he said.
I'm calling them all.
Yeah, that's what they used to do. It's all strikes.
Yeah.
He said, well, I'll tell you something, you blind bastard. I'm going to be swinging at every pitch because you're horse shit. And I have to because I have no choice.
I know it. I will.
He said, that's one reason why I never walked much in the majors, why I always went up there swinging. I swung at the second pitch that day and hit into a double play. I went back to the dugout mumbling about the fucking umpire. Mickey Mantle came over to me and said, don't mess with that guy. He always tests rookies. Thanks for the early warning, Mick. So, I could have told him that ahead of time. This 62 team is Elston Howard, Moose Skowron, Bobby Richardson, Tom Tresh, Cleet Boyer, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Yogi Berra still on the fucking team playing utility.
Christ.
Yeah, there's a lot of this is the tail end. Whitey Ford still pitching. This is like, legendary fucking guys here.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
So, yeah, he said that it came out, by the way, in the newspaper and everything, that the Yankees had been looking at Pepitone since he was 14. So they have a lot of like positive stories about, this is a guy they've always wanted, and it's working out. So he hangs out, now that you're a Yankee.
Yeah.
Now you don't hang out at some saloon in Amarillo.
Right.
It's a different story now. Now he hangs out at the fucking Copacabana, baby.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so if you don't know what that is, legendarily huge nightclub where all the stars hang out back in the day.
Right. Stars and mobbed up folks. It's a whole scene.
It's a whole scene. If you've ever seen Goodfellas, it's where Henry Hill and Karen went through the kitchen, and Frankie Valli sent us a bottle of champagne and all that shit. That's the Copa.
What do you do? I'm in contracts.
I'm a union delegate. You don't feel like you're in construction. I'm in construction. I'm a union delegate. So he said the Copa was also liberally sprinkled with older Italians in dark, expensive suits who sent drinks over to our table and came over to meet me. Many of them spoke in very deep, hoarse voices as they wished me well with great sincerity. Quote, "You got to make us Italians proud, Joey."
Don't you fuck this up for us.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's a huge deal when there's a Yankee star. The new guy, Anthony Volpe, that came up last year. I'm telling you, people would kill for this guy because he's a fucking Italian Yankee. It's crazy. He said, quote, "We read all about you. There aren't many Italians in the big leagues with your kind of ability. We're counting on you to make us all proud. Come on."
This is on you now.
Yep. He said then they'd walk away with their huge diamond rings, and Carmine or one of the other maitre d's would say, "That's a very important man, Joe," and nod his head. Very important.
Don't fuck with that man.
If
don't ruin that guy's life.
Yeah. If he'd like to be proud, you should facilitate that.
You should probably make him fucking proud.
Make him proud. He said, translation, those are racket guys, some of the biggest names in the New York area.
Yeah.
Because you had to have money to go hang out at the Copa. So these weren't a lot of like low-level shitheel guys, too. There's a lot of important guys that had a lot of pull going on. He said, I started hanging out at the Copa without Barbara because the second time I went there alone, the racket guys not only made me feel good, but they invited me to go to one of their private after-hours places. Oh, yeah.
There's girls and stuff.
There's going to be all sorts of shit. None of them had their wives with them. They were out for a good time, and to them, good times meant sex.
Yeah.
And not with each other, I assume.
Right.
So, not with fat, greasy Tony over here. He said, these guys had chicks in every borough who welcomed them and their friends with open thighs. Joe.
Wow.
He said, no chatting, no courting, no nothing. You just walk in and fucking take your pants off and start plowing away. These are just, you're ready-made whores, as fucking Karen would say.
Unbelievable.
Yep. He said, this was a different type of sex than I'd ever known. I didn't have to go out and meet a girl and go through the whole big routine to get her into the sack.
Yeah.
The girls were there. They'd say, quote, Joey, I'd like you to meet this girl, a racket guy would say. You'd like her. She's got all the moves. I mean, nice. Here, take this number. Ginny.
Nice.
That's his whole sentence. I mean, comma, nice. So I know exactly how that said. I mean, nice.
Nice.
Here, take
You're gonna
this.
like this girl.
He said, here, take this number. Ginny, mention my name. Say I thought the two of you would like each other. That's all you got to do. And you're in.
He said we might like each other? I don't know what that means. All right, pull it out.
Vinny said we might like each other. I mean, I don't know.
I guess that means you fucked him.
I guess you fuck. And part of this, too, he's a goddamn he's an Italian Yankee, so there's boroughs full of girls that will happily bang him too. So he doesn't really need this. But this is easier, I guess. You don't even have to talk to these girls, the way he's looking at it. He said he'd hand me the phone number. I'd call. Terrific, she'd say at 4:30 in the morning.
Terrific.
4:30 in the morning, he'd call.
Terrific. Come on over.
She'd meet me at the door in a see-through robe or bare-ass naked and say, hi. And sure enough, she'd have all the moves and then some.
Wow.
This is some kind of wild style life going on here, man.
That is a life I could... my word.
This is a lot. How would this not get overwhelming after a while?
Yeah, but doesn't that make you really want to fucking hit? Like, I would... Boy, would I make them proud.
That's what I mean. Your whole life would be like, this is crazy.
I'm going to make sure they are proud every day of me.
If I hit 275, I can make phone calls at 4:30 in the morning and naked women will answer doors.
It's a pretty great life.
Pride is a wonderful thing, everybody.
Yeah, it is.
So, he said, no talk, no bullshitting around, instant flesh on flesh, flesh in flesh, and screams of pleasure. At least I thought they were. And many of them certainly were. Passion, which translated to me as, I not only love you, Joe, but you're great. An all-star lover. Yeah.
My grandfather once told me he was proud of me. Never this.
No, this is a better proud. What kind of proud did he give you? Whose number did he give you?
Bullshit.
Yeah. Whose number did he give you? Here's a guy you can get a paper route through. Yeah. If you call him and tell him I sent you, he'll hire you to deliver papers at 4:30 in the morning. Not get pussy at 4:30 in the morning.
Never.
Wow. He said, the racket guys really pushed me to do well. They kept saying, you got to make us proud. So when you go out there, we want you to bear down, do good. And if we can help you in any way at all, Joey, you just let us know. Which is
mostly these phone numbers.
It's fucking dangerous, actually. It gets a little bit dangerous when you have these guys get that involved with you. This happened too to Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah.
When the wrestler, he would get in the big feuds. The guys back then, they didn't fucking know it was fake or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of the people used to think that all the rest of the matches were fake, but Bruno's matches were real. That was a literal thing that adult people thought.
What the fuck, man?
Because the emotion he'd bring out in people. Yeah. He would have, these beefs, and guys would come up to him and say, that son of a bitch, I saw what he fucking did to you.
I'll fucking cut his throat.
We're going to take care of that son of a bitch. You don't even fucking worry about it. He's not going to go. I heard he's going to be in Boston. He ain't going to be in Boston.
He ain't going to make it.
And Bruno go, no. I got to take care of it. This is for my pride, and I got to take care. I can't have nobody fighting my battles and blah, 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 because he couldn't tell him. It's fake, you fucking moron.
Yeah,
don't kill a man for this. We hang out together. I went out to dinner with that guy and his wife. Yeah. Our wives and us. We all go out to dinner. This is insane. So this is what happened. He said, one night, I'll be goddamned if a couple of them didn't think they'd come up with a way for me to get off the bench. Because he's a rookie guy. He's platooning.
Yeah.
He said, we were sitting around an after-hours place when this guy turned to me very seriously, nodding his head. Quote, we're going to help you out with that little problem you got with Skowron. Moose Skowron, the first baseman. I said, what? What do you mean? He said, he's going to have a little accident.
He's not going to play baseball for a little bit.
They're going to fucking kill a man named Moose, for Christ's sake. For no reason.
He's going to have an accident.
He said, no, I'll win the job on my own next year. Yeah. That's baseball. That's how it works. And they said, Joey, why wait?
Why waste time?
We'll take care. I mean, 6 months from now? It's ridiculous. We'll just do it now. We'll just destroy a man's life and career for no reason.
It's icy
nothing
out.
Wrong
He might take a fall.
You never know. He said, we'll just get in touch with him after a game, and the next day, you got the job. No problem. He won't play real good with cracks in his legs.
Oh, my God.
We're just going to break this guy's legs for no reason.
He won't play real good.
He said, quote, shit, no, don't do that, I pleaded. He said.
Yeah.
Joey, another guy said, he's not supposed to be playing ahead of an Italian.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be. What does that mean?
That's the rules.
Where's that in the bylaws of the league here?
Yeah, it's in the union contract.
So one bounce over the wall, that's a ground rule double.
Ground rule double, yeah.
And guys named Moose don't start ahead of Italians.
Not
that's subsection Q.
Not ahead of the old country.
Paragraph 1. I see. Okay, never mind. You're right. You know what? You're right. He said they were not kidding. I finally made them promise not to go near Moose Skowron because he thought maybe they get an idea, you know?
Yeah.
How does he not tell Moose, whatever you do, don't go to this bar, or this bar? He said, I began to see that while being around these guys could be fun, it could also be a little frightening. Of course, I was floating so high at this time with my whole glorious future in front of me that I wasn't really frightened of anything. Okay. Now, his hair is a hilarious source of entertainment here for everybody because he starts losing his hair pretty early on here.
Oh, no.
Early 20s, and by later, he's going to have, like, a whole kit for his hair, like
really
different rugs and all sorts of shit. It's amazing.
No.
Oh, it's hilarious. He has no shame about. Oh no, he has no shame about. No, everyone knows he's got a rug and everything. That's the thing. He'll tell anybody. He doesn't care.
But why do it then if everybody
he doesn't
knows?
Want to be bald. I guess for the ladies. I don't fucking know.
Oh my God.
He said, I was only 21 years old, but I was already starting to lose my hair in front. I used to stand in front of a mirror for a half hour, combing it, patting it, telling it to hang in there, fellas.
It will not do it.
Hang in there, fellas. Giving it a pep talk.
Stick around, guys.
Maybe if I make the follicles feel good about themselves, they'll stick around.
Has anybody tried words of affirmation?
Oh, my God. He said, I do this before a game and after a game. Of course, everyone would notice and make fun of me, but it was good-natured, something I came to expect and even look forward to. That was the way I was.
Wow.
He said he didn't care. Now, in 1962, in the middle of June, there's an article here in the newspaper, and I'm going to show you, just so you know I'm not making it up.
Oh, no. Why do you say this?
The headline is, this is June 3rd, 1962, in the Progress Bulletin newspaper. Another pizza eater for NY, Joe Pepitone. Pizza eater.
Oh, pasta sucker.
What the fuck is that about? Yeah. He said, with the celebrated Yogi Berra reduced to the status of a part-time outfielder, the Yankees are banking on the 21-year-old Joe Pepitone to perpetuate their line of fine Italian hands.
Another Parmesan slinger.
He's going to have it on there. That's what he does when he hits a home run. As he's trotting around the bases, he leaves a trail of Parmesan behind him. It's a fucking so everybody knows.
Yeah, the rosin bag's just a bunch of fucking Romano.
He said, through the years, the Yankees' pie in the sky has been pizza.
Unfucking believable.
And it's paid rich dividends. The Italian touch was first acquired with Ping Bodie, who was born Franchetto Sanguinettia Pizzola in the a little round outfielder in 1918, but really became important when Tony Lazzara came up from Salt Lake in 1926 to be Tony Lazzari, sorry, not Lazzara, Lazzari. Then followed Frank Corsetti, the matchless DiMaggio, Phil Rizzuto, Vic Raschi, Yogi Berra, and now Joe Pepitone. So yeah, he said Pepitone comes to the New York club a little ahead of the others. He's already had a pie named after him. Joe played as a semi-professional, you see, with Nathan's famous hot dogs of Coney Island. If you think the Italian strain isn't important at the box office, consider that official figure now. Figures show that there are 2.5 million people of that extraction in New York at the moment.
Is that right?
Fuck, that must have been a good time for us.
2.5 million.
God damn it.
How many are in Italy?
No, yeah. There's well, shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's more than that, but 2.5 million
that's
in one.
a
That's in
lot.
one place.
Yeah,
that's in one city. Yeah, now
One
we're all
city.
spread out, and now we've been watered down a lot too, so it's different.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. He said that's more than the population of Rome. So there you go.
Okay, yeah.
Just the capital there. If you take the entire metropolitan area, the figure is even more staggering. And you'll hardly find a good fan without a trace of Italian heritage within the boundaries who isn't a rabid Yankee rooter. And the Italians are noticeably enthusiastic about anything they like. We're a passionate people. Yeah. Thank you. And Lazzari, Corsetti, DiMaggio, Little Scooter, Rizzuto, Raschi, and Berra were, and Pepitone is now, something to get excited about. Pepitone is flamboyant, starting with his tag that could be a good trade name for a toothpaste or a hi-fi set. I don't know what the fuck that means. I guess just Pepitone. Yeah. I guess it does sound like a good
brand
toothpaste.
stereo. Yeah.
That sounds like a real good toothpaste.
Yeah.
Pepitone, bright white. Yeah, it's not bad.
Pepitone does sound like a stereo.
A stereo hi-fi, yeah. That's a good, like back then, I got a new hi-fi.
Yeah.
It's a Pepitone. Ooh.
It's a Pepitone. Oh.
One of those big ones.
Sweet tones coming out.
You open the top and you put the record in, one of those big cabinets. He said the work goes on. Ron Solomini out of Long Island University is battling so well for Amarillo of the Texas League that the front office considered moving him up to Richmond. Well, he never made it anywhere, so we know that. Lou Romanucci is a promising 20-year-old right-handed pitcher in the Florida State League. The way things are, you'd think they'd play the Garibaldi hymn with the Star-Spangled Banner before games at Yankee Stadium.
Garibaldi hymn.
Pizza eaters. So, wow. He spends part of his 62 season in the minors because he tries to, I guess, during a June road trip, Pepitone wanted to take off at 1:30 a.m. that's past curfew.
Yeah.
So when, I guess, he saw the Yankees GM and manager exit the elevator, he snuck in past them.
Yeah.
So he said they saw him, and he made an excuse about he was looking for his roommate and, blah, 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 blah. So they ended up saying, oh, yeah, you're looking for your roommate. They went in, and he was in bed already, his roommate. So
there he is. Get in.
That's a lie. So he got shipped down to the minors for that.
Oh,
for fucking around. Yeah. So that's kind of tough there. He does get 2 of his 7 home runs came in the majors in one day on May 23rd against the Kansas City A's, and he had 2 home runs, and he was very excited. 2 home runs in 1 inning, by the way.
Oh.
Yes. He was one of only 14 players that hit 2 home runs in 1 inning up to that point.
Yeah, because you got to get through the whole fucking
the whole lineup, and then do it again.
There's
only one guy who's hit 2 grand slams in an inning.
Who's that?
You know who that is? Fernando Tatis, not junior, senior. He was like 99 or something. He did that for the Cardinals.
2 grand slams in the same inning?
In a fucking inning. Yeah, that's why it's only happened once in 25 million at-bats that have happened in the majors. It's pretty wild.
If you can get through the lineup twice like that, you should probably at least get several RBIs, whether or not it's 2 grand slams.
Yeah, but 2 actual grand slam home runs that's impressive. To you not in your control whether to come up with the bases loaded twice.
Yeah.
That's just happens, and then you happen to hit home runs. It's pretty impressive here. But the Yankees, well, we'll start with Pepitone here. On the Yankees, he hit 239 with 7 homers that year and got sent down. But the Yankees ended up going all the way to the World Series against the San Francisco Giants and winning the World Series that year, too.
Oh, damn it.
So that cost him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was tough. But the Yankees won. The 1963 Yankees trade Moose Skowron away. Luckily, Moose doesn't know how lucky he is that he got traded, but
he doesn't know how lucky he is that Pepitone got sent down.
But Pepitone wasn't a scumbag and was like, break his fucking legs. That'd be great. Yeah. So they couldn't have sent him down then.
Right.
When they decided to send me down, maybe I changed my mind at that point. You know what? Maybe Moose does need to limp.
They may have called me back up.
Fuck it. That's what I mean. We need a first baseman. So this makes Pepitone the starting first baseman for 63. And he said, Pepitone tells a story about Moose. He says, Moose was always on my ass about my partying. All the Yankees were like that in those days. Don't fuck with my money. Get home early. That's the way it was. They roomed me with Moose one time. He really went to bed at 10 o'clock and drank milk and all that shit.
Wow.
So everybody else is going out partying and doing all this. He's
drinking warm milk and climbing into bed at 10 o'clock.
Yep. He said, I went out one night with Billy Hunter, and Moose said, if you're not home by 1 o'clock curfew, I'm putting the chain on the door. What is he, a pissed off wife?
I'm locking it and telling everybody.
I'm shutting the light off and fucking putting the chain on. He said, I came home about 3 a.m, bombed out of my head with Billy Hunter. Sure as shit, the chain was on the door.
He wasn't kidding.
Sleep out in the hallway, he yelled out. I kicked the door down. Now we're getting in trouble.
Really?
The chain went flying, and he grabbed me. I weighed about 175 pounds at the time, and Moose weighed about 220. His name is Moose.
Weighs about as much as a moose.
He's a moose. I said, oh, fuck.
What have I done?
Uh-oh, that was dumb. He was shit-faced. The next day, Ralph Houck came to me and said, you're not rooming with Moose anymore. He doesn't want you.
No, I know.
Yeah, no shit.
I don't want
He's
him.
Fine. Yeah, good deal. So 63 Yankees here. They finish 104-57.
Not bad.
And which is good enough to go to the World Series that year. But they lose to the Dodgers in the World Series that year, and that's Koufax, Drysdale, that whole mess. And Elston Howard, Joe Pepitone, kind of the same team. Mickey Mantle's hurt a lot now. He's starting to get injured all the time here. So Tresh is going to fill in center, and Whitey Ford's still pitching. Here's some snippets about Joe here. This is from Jim Bouton's book, Ball 4, which I've said 100 times. It's excellent. Check it out if you like baseball stories. He said, ovations are nice and some guys sort of milk them, like Joe Pepitone. If he had just the touch of an injury, he'd squirm on the ground for a while and then stand up gamely, and he'd get his ovation. After a while, the fans got onto him, though, and he needed to at least have a broken leg for that to move them. Like, get up, Pepitone. We know you want an ovation. Shut up.
He's selling it a little hard.
Here's another prank. This is called the hot foot, which I think we've talked about in baseball.
Have we?
Yeah, well, we've seen it definitely because you've seen it in like Major League and shit. This is where guys light each other's shoelaces on fire while they're sitting on the bench and they don't notice, and all of a sudden they go, Jesus Christ, and their foot's on fire.
And then they start stomping it. Yeah,
and they start stomping. That's a little joke that guys do.
That's a funny joke.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
yeah.
They put a
fire.
whole thing of matches, like
fire. That's
fire
that's
on their
funny.
shoe.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, guys' whole legs get set on fire sometimes. Hilarious,
yeah, because
right?
fire goes up. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's rough and interesting. Some guys don't notice it right away.
Right.
So he says, this is Jim Bouton again, one of the great hot foots of all time was administered by Joe Pepitone to Phil Linz. The beauty part was that Pepitone was giving a hot foot to somebody else at the time, and just as he started to turn around and grin at the havoc he had wrought, a look of horror crossed his face as he began to do an Indian dance. The hot footer had been hot-footed himself. Joe Pepitone's aghast. So, yeah, he fucking was being set on fire.
While he was lighting someone else on fire.
Yeah, while he was doing that. Apparently, there was a lot of fighting going on one day when people were throwing at Joe Pepitone during a game here.
Okay.
He says, Barry Latman hit Pepitone on the right wrist in the third inning of a game on August 21st. He said, sending pain shooting up to my elbow. And then in the eighth, Gary Bell threw a fastball behind Pepitone, and then his next pitch threw it right in his ribs.
Oh, my God. Why are they throwing at him?
Clearly throwing at Pepitone.
Yeah.
So the ball nicked his jersey, he said, though. It didn't, even get him. And he said Pepitone then charged the mound. But the umpire got to him before he got there. He saw it coming and grabbed his ass beforehand and restrained him. And then they fined Bell. The umpire fined Bell $50 on the field, which I didn't think you could do
right
that.
Now?
Right now. I don't know if you had to have it now to go into your back pocket and pull it. Yeah, but that's how it happened. And on his way to first base, Pepitone screamed at Bell, who said, all right, then come on, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So they said Pepitone didn't get more than 2 running steps toward the pitcher when the Indians' first baseman, Fred Whisman, tackled him from behind. So he went to attack him. He got tackled. A bench-clearing brawl ensued, and it was a big fucking melee, apparently. Yeah. So that's how that went. It was a big deal, though. I mean, back then that was a fun thing. Second game of a doubleheader.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, guys are pissed off. They're hot.
Yeah. They're still here.
Yeah, that's what it is. He said he was pissed off. He said, I was all right until I got to first base. He said, then I began calling him names, and he hollered back at me, daring him to come at him. So I did. But I got grabbed from behind. I figured I was going to get hit, so I might as well start swinging first. I'm not mad at anybody anymore now. I wasn't trying to hit him, said Gary Bell, the pitcher. He said, in fact, I'm not mad at anybody, but he kept shouting profanity at me, and I won't take that shit from anybody.
You don't call me names.
You don't call me names, mister.
Yeah.
So that year, though, he has a great year, does Pepitone. Hits .271 with 27 homers, 89 ribbies, 16 doubles. He's a badass. He's doing great. He makes the All-Star team.
Really?
All-Star team, and he's 17th in MVP voting.
Only 16 better.
Only 16 better, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So he made an error in the 1963 World Series. It's a famous error where apparently he lost a ball in the people. He's at first base and he lost a ball in the people, and it cost them a run and cost them a game, and it was a big mess. So yeah, he said it was right there. I just lost it in the crowd. Nothing he could do about it. You know what I mean? One of those kind of things. Keep that in mind for the next season when when he's afraid again to have a ball come near him during the World Series. It's hilarious. So here's a story about him going down on 7 girls. Maybe going down on 7 girls.
At the same time?
We'll talk about it. It's not actually him.
Oh.
He said that he goes to some place and there's some of the wise guys that he knew, some of the mob guys. they said, hey, somebody's talking shit about you here. And we got him sitting here. So, he's going to confront you about this. Okay. And they said, well, some shitface is here fucking over your name, and I want this straightened out, is what the mob guy said.
Yeah.
He said, when I walked into the saloon, Vince said, hiya, kid, come here and have a drink with us. I recognized 6 of the 7 guys at the bar and nodded to them. Vince said to the guy I didn't know, say, tell the kid about the party you were at last night.
Uh-huh.
Christ, the guy said, you won't believe it. It was the worst fucking thing I ever saw. Joe Pepitone was at this party, and there was a lot of fucking going on, naked girls running around all over the place. Well, right in front of everybody, Pepitone went down on 7 girls.
Okay.
I was speechless because the older Italians have this thing about sex where the man never demeans himself with a woman. That's an old-time mob thing. Right. If you've seen The Sopranos, there's a whole Uncle Junior thing about it. Yeah. He said, and to them, going down on a woman was the most demeaning act you could perform. Yeah, don't make anybody come, God forbid. Make them fuck you harder next time. And what?
Don't give her anything unless you're getting something.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, even if it's quid pro quo, at least have a fucking quid. You know what I mean? Get in there.
Get the quid before the quo.
Yeah, get the fuck in there. What the hell, man? What, are you scared of it? It won't bite. If it does, back away.
Yeah.
You're in control.
You got to give it a chance.
He said, and to them, going down on the woman was the most demeaning act. You just didn't do it, period. At this time, I even believed this, and I had never gone down on a woman. Didn't until a year or so later. I always wanted to, but I was hung up on those old beliefs that have been hammered into me.
Yeah.
Vince said to the guy, you know Joe Pepitone, huh? Sure, Vince. You know Joe Pepitone, huh? Sure. Vince nodded, and you saw him go down on 7 girls. The guy said, yeah, right in front of everybody. Vince then nodded and points at me and says, you ever see this kid before?
Yeah.
The guy stared at me and said, no, I don't think I've ever seen him before. Vince said, this is Joe Pepitone.
Yeah. Who the fuck did you see?
And then he punched the guy in the belly, knocked him down, and said, and he don't go down on no cunts. I'm Joe fucking Pepitone. I don't go down on no cunts. Now he's got that as a label because this guy put it in it for him.
A man got punched over it.
He got beat up over this. And then he chopped him on the back of the neck. The guy went down on his face, and Vince kicked him in the side. He's working him over.
Oh, my God, he is.
He said, you come around here spreading lies like that about this kid?
He's right here, right in front of him.
Jesus, he yelled, furious. Several of the others at the bar stepped over and kicked the guy as well, cursing him angrily. Not to help him, not to pull Vince off of him.
To get their shots in,
get their shots in.
Say he licks clam, how dare you?
He said, Vince grabbed my wrist. Come on, Joey, kick this son of a bitch. He wants you to participate.
Meet him.
No, Vince, I don't want to kick him, I said.
Yeah. You hear what he said about you? Come on.
He said, kick him. He disgraced you. Disgraziad.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a micro-city built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
He said, Vince, I can't be bothered with a piece of shit like him. He called you a muff diver. Kick him. He called you the worst fucking thing you could be, the biggest sin that's ever been. A muff diver.
Guys, wear that shirt proudly, man.
Yeah, it's why. Cheech has a license plate.
Sure
Cheech's
does,
muff diver license plate. Yeah, nothing to be ashamed of. Good God.
No.
I make girls come. Oh, no, not that.
How dare you?
How dare you? By this time, the guy was all bloody, groaning, and barely conscious. They fucking kicked the shit out of him. Look at him, Vince, I said. He'll never say anything like that again. Then I leaned over and jabbed a finger at the battered hulk on the floor and yelled, but you watch your mouth, you bastard, or next time I will kick you. Like that matters. They picked him up like a corpse, carried him to the door, and tossed him into the gutter.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Of course, when I finally did start going down on girls, if there was any chance of them at all running into racket guys, I'd tell them, don't ever mention this to anyone, honey. I had them cross their hearts and sign their names in blood.
Unbelievable.
So, that is fucking hilarious. He talks a bunch of shit here, too. Here's another party that he talks about. He starts hanging out with Mickey Mantle.
Really?
And starts rooming with Mickey Mantle, who Mickey is one of the great partiers of all time in sports.
Yeah, storied, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he rotted his liver out. I mean, he's a legendary drunk and just whatever.
He did it
women.
really well, yeah.
He did great for himself. So he said he went to a party with Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
And he said, I'd never seen anything like this party at all. First of all, it was at this lavish place up some canyon, and there were a dozen movie stars and starlets present.
Oh.
So these aren't just gangster chicks who hang out in Brooklyn at 4 o'clock in the morning. These are like famous
J-Lo.
chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, we got there late after the ball game, and there was already people in the pool naked. They were not swimming, so people fucking.
They were fucking, yeah.
He said, anyone who felt like joining the action, guys and girls, they simply dropped their drawers and dove in. Pool fuck party. Couples were disappearing into rooms, and when the rooms were all occupied, couples started bawling right out in the open, all over the place. Bawling out, baby. Incredible. The later it got, the wilder it got. Incredible. He loves this shit. He said, finally I turned to Mantle and said, when are we going home, Mickey? We got to play tomorrow.
Well, you get to fucking, and then we'll get out of here.
Well, Mickey said, close. He said, quote, shut your fucking mouth. Shut up. Don't want to hear it.
I'm not trying to go home. Shut up.
Yeah, I'm here. Why would I go home? He said, I was watching the bawling on the couch over here, the bawling on the floor over there, and I began to think less and less about baseball. That's how Mickey does it, I think.
Yeah.
I saw a girl that all kinds of guys were after. She was small, blonde, gorgeous, and wearing one of those short skirts and the high boots that were already in California back then. So like the go-go style shit.
Yeah.
I kept watching her. She seemed so cool, rejecting in a nice way all the guys who moved on her. I was afraid to approach her, even to talk to her, but she saw me staring at her and started talking to me. Nice. She said her name was Alice, that she was 19 and trying to get into modeling.
Uh-huh.
That sounds good. We stood there. Yeah, he's 24, 23, whatever. We stood there for a while, rapping with one another. And the next thing I knew, we were upstairs bawling.
Hell yeah.
She was the best piece of ass I've ever had. That's what he says. Like the guy in The Godfather. She was the best piece of ass I've ever had. And I've had them all over the world.
And a lot.
When we finished, I just laid there staring at her. She was so good, so beautiful. Every time we went to L.A. after that, I saw Alice. I got really close to her, met her mother, the whole thing.
What?
It wasn't until 3 years later that I learned when her mother called me to see if Alice was with me in New York that Alice had been 13 years old that first night I was with her in L.A.
He learned that and still said that.
Which means she was 16 at that point, and he was still banging her. 13.
Yeah.
And his response to this in the book, quote, what a zoo. That's
no.
it. That's it.
What a felony.
What a felony. I sat awake at night waiting for my door to be kicked in. I felt horrible about it. I had to go talk to a fucking psychiatrist and a priest and 5 other people because I felt bad about plowing an 8th grader. None of that shit. What a zoo. Moving on.
Best piece of ass I ever had.
13. Best
Gross.
piece of ass he's ever had. Wow.
Oh,
holy
boy.
shit. So, after the 63 season here, he said that the Yankees had a lot of changes. Yogi Berra was named manager, and Ralph Houck moved up to be general manager. And he said, Houck offered me a contract calling for a $5,000 raise, which back then was a lot. It was like a $50,000 raise, which was the biggest I'd ever had. But it gave me a salary of only $16,000, which was a few $1,000s less than a ball player with my record would have been earning if he also happened to be a firm negotiator. This is pre-agents.
Got to do it on your own.
So the guys would literally go into the general manager's office, and the general manager would hand them a contract and go, here's your contract for next year. And the guy would go, 16. I think I'm worth 19. And the guy would go, I don't think so. I don't know. And then they'd negotiate, and he'd go, all right, I give you 16.5.
Yeah.
And it was like you were fucked. You couldn't do anything because there was no free agency either. So you had no, there was no leverage card. Well, I'll just go somewhere else. That didn't work. So he said, I was what the tough negotiators referred to as an easy lay. He said, I didn't give a shit. Whatever figure management wrote on the contract, I signed it. At this time, debts and all, I would have played baseball for nothing. So, yeah. He said, 64, Barbara and I rented an apartment in Fort Lauderdale for spring training. She was pregnant again, and my son, Joe Jr., would arrive early in the season. My daughter, Eileen, was 18 months old now, and I got tremendous kick out of playing with her in the house there. So he said, at Fort Lauderdale, I hung out with a guy who lived in the next apartment. One day when there was no practice, the two of us were driving along the beach looking for girls. That's nice.
It's a father.
It's a father with his wife right there. We picked up a couple and headed for their place. Easy, they got him.
Holy.
What we didn't notice was that our wives, who were out shopping together, had come back by way of the beach and were 2 cars behind us.
Oh, sweet Christ.
Oh, my God. This is going to be a bigger fucking melee than the bench-clearing brawl here. It's going to be wild. We were in a convertible with the top down. Could it get any better?
It's very much us.
Look at those son of a bitches up there.
Yeah.
Holy shit. He said, late in the afternoon, we drove back home and walked into his apartment. Both our wives had very unfriendly looks on their faces.
They want to talk.
You do the shopping, hon? I asked Barbara.
Yeah.
She didn't say a word, just walked into the kitchen. I sat on the sofa and picked up the newspaper. I glanced over at my friend who was just sitting across the room, and his eyes were bulging out of his head. Joe, he yelled. But before I could turn around, Barbara had brought a big steel frying pan crashing down on my head.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ. My brains felt like they were going to spill out of my mouth. I pitched off the sofa onto the floor, my head spinning psychedelically. Jesus. Yeah. Then I saw her coming at me again, swinging that frying pan.
Yeah.
Did someone say she went down on some broads or something? Because, wow. I rolled over, managed to get to my feet, and hit her a glancing blow. She bounced off the wall and came right back at me, the frying pan raised over her head. Total rage in her eyes. I ran out of the apartment, jumped in my car, and drove to a motel near the ballpark, feeling a lump get bigger and bigger on top of my head. I went back to her the next day and apologized, swore I'd never fool around like that again. Of course, that's always what I did, mess up and then apologize to her. It wasn't until years later that I realized I was following the same pattern my father had set with me, which I hated so much.
Isn't that crazy?
Very weird,
cycle.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like if you would have talked to that guy, or if that guy would have talked to you and said something more than, play ball, you fucking lazy shit, would have helped.
It's crazy how products of an environment actually really exist.
That's fucking great. Here's a prank he pulled in the 64 season.
Okay.
64, they were 99 and 63 and lost the World Series in 7 games to the Cardinals that year.
Ouch.
So that's the end of the Yankees being big, and then they're not good again until the late 70s when Reggie Jackson's there.
Shit.
So it's rough going. So here we go. A prank. This is from Jim Bouton's book. He said, one day, Joe Pepitone inserted a piece of popcorn under his foreskin and went to the trainer claiming a new venereal disease. So they all look in.
Popcorn.
Well, it's just a big lump. He put it under the foreskin.
Yeah.
So they're all looking in to see what the old trainer's going to say. Quote, Jesus Christ, Joe, what the hell have you done? Is what the doctor said. Pepitone didn't start laughing until the doctor had carefully used a forceps to liberate the popcorn. That's hilarious. That's just fun. That's so bored.
You have to pull your cock out.
Oh, your cock's going up, but it's the trainer. He sees your cock all the time.
Yeah.
These guys in the locker room back then, their cocks were always out. They were always
out.
they didn't care. They were waiting to put their jock on in their fucking cup, so they weren't going to crowd them.
Wow.
So here is a good one here. Okay. Now, there is a woman that he talked about here named Lucy here that he is going to hang out with. And he sees her. She's a neighborhood woman. She's older and lives around his mother. So he hung out with her one day, we'll say. And the next day, he said, the following day, early in the afternoon, I got a call from my mother. Joe, she said, the most awful thing has happened. Lucy, who was sitting here with us 2 days ago, had a stroke last night. It paralyzed half her body. I offered my sympathies, hung up, and immediately called Lemon. That's a friend of his from the neighborhood. Okay. Lemon, I said, sit down because you won't believe this.
Is that?
It's Lucy. Remember Lucy with the husband? It's the same one.
The gal on the fire escape?
No. That's the young girl. This is the older broad.
Lucy.
That Lucy.
The one that, okay.
Yeah, from part 1 here. He said, sit down because you won't believe this, but I want to tell you how good I am. How good I am. Are you listening?
Good I am, yeah.
I paused. I was with Lucy yesterday, your first real love.
Yeah.
Okay?
I fucked her.
And we screwed 5 times.
He gave her a stroke.
A few hours after I left, she had a stroke. Quote, how many girls have you screwed so good they had a stroke afterward?
So good.
This is how guys are. We'd be, even if we loved the woman, we'd be really sad, but at the same time, we wouldn't be able to wait to tell everyone how she died. It would be in her obituary. It would be his penis killed her. It would be in her obituary for sure. If we had it our way. Death by penis. I'm sorry. Picture of you up there with your face like looking on.
Men just love to take credit for possibly causing any sort of health thing to
any
anybody.
Injury? Yeah.
Oh God, I had. Remember that club owner had a stroke, and I claimed responsibility for it because I made him freak out an hour before he had a stroke
because he got mad. Yeah. Imagine if you would have fucked him into that. You would have really taken credit for it. If you just face fucked that guy until he had a stroke, you would have never shut up about that.
I'd be doing a podcast about telling the same story every day.
That's all we do. I'd be like, Jimmy, we got to move on, bro.
Tell the story again, Jimmy.
I was fucking, so I had him by the ears, right? I just had him by the ears, and I was really going to town.
Blood pressure spiked.
This is how guys are, though. We want to feel like we have some impact in the world, whether it's with our cocks or our minds or our force.
Any words, anything.
He said, that's how fucked up, depraved, degenerate I was at the time. Worse, a couple months later on our trip out west, I went to see Lucy at her place.
He went and saw her again?
She was paralyzed on one side. Only half her body could move.
Uh-huh.
I did her.
Again.
She could only move one hand, one side of her mouth, but it was wildly sensuous to me. That was the bag I was headed for. That was the way my mind was working. The freakier the sex, the better.
I did this to her, therefore it's still hot.
He's like, I'll fuck her in the limp half of her mouth. It'll be hot.
Because I did it.
Wow. So he said that through all this, he's got he bought a house in the suburbs and moved in and acted like Mr. Family Man with his kids. He said, I knew the only reason I was staying married was because of the kids, and Barbara may have felt the same way for all I know. We had absolutely nothing going together. I was making no effort to bring us together, and neither was Barbara. The bad vibes, arguments, attacks on one another were constant. But Barbara wanted a house in the suburbs, so we bought a $40,000 colonial in River Edge, New Jersey, which was that's a big purchase back then. That was like a good house. It would have been a real nice house. We thought it might change things, which was stupid. We didn't stand a chance if I didn't change my lifestyle, and I was not about to. Right. I was still out screwing around all the time. Even when Barbara was with me, I was coming on with other girls right in front of her.
Okay.
Wow, that is balls. That's, wow. If I really dug a girl, I'd give her my home phone number. I was compelled to fuck everything I could, compelled to keep going night after night in search of fun and happiness. It surely was an elusive rascal.
Home phone number? Like, what if she answers,
He doesn't
man?
care. That's how much he doesn't give a
Holy.
fuck anymore. He said, soon after we moved into our house, I found that I couldn't make it with Barbara anymore.
Yeah.
Couldn't fuck Barbara anymore. No. He
Not
said,
that we weren't going to make it. It said, I'm not going to make it.
My dick won't make it all the way in. That's it. Which we hear every guy who gets tons of road gash, this is what they always talk about. Because remember in the Jake the Snake Roberts episode, he said it got too freaky, and then at home he couldn't even fuck his wife anymore.
Yeah, vanilla sex is just not good anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't what he was interested. Even if it was freaky, it wasn't 4 girls and freaky, because that's what he wanted now.
And it's not 4 girls that are going to fucking disappear in a minute.
That's the other thing. That might be a part of it. And those girls probably brought crack over, too, for everybody to smoke. So
I don't know
helped,
them,
too.
so it's fun to come on all their faces.
Yeah, and then smoke some crack and kick them out.
Yeah.
That's probably what he was thinking.
Snort it off their ass.
He said that he couldn't make it with Barbara. That didn't help my head. For years, I'd merely had to look at my dick and it would pop up. Suddenly, I couldn't do anything with my wife, and I quickly gave up trying. Outside, I was always ready. At home, always limp. It wasn't just because I was tired from all the other activity either. I was tired after screwing 3 other girls in one night, but I'd done that in the past and always managed to take care of my homework.
Yeah.
In River Edge with my wife, I had a perpetual headache. It was sure as hell my fault, not hers. I guess not. Yeah, you're fucking a million other people here. So, this is this team. He's an all-star again this year, by the way. Okay. 251, 28 homers, 100 ribbies.
Yeah.
And he's an all-star. Like I said, they go all the way to the 7th game of the World Series, and they lose. So that's tough. Now, he got hit on it with a Bob Gibson curveball in one of them here. Yeah. And he said that it wasn't that hard. He didn't get hit that hard. It was a soft curveball, and he was lucky. So, yeah, which is good from him. Good for him. This is about him not wanting the ball to come to him after the last year's error.
Oh, yeah.
This is Jim Bouton. He said, which reminds me of Joe Pepitone's pickoff play. In this 1964 World Series with Lou Brock on first base, who was, the guy who Ricky Henderson broke all his records,
right.
I gave the pickoff sign to Pepe. So I'm going to throw a pickoff throw over there. Yeah. When I took my stretch position and looked over toward first, he was standing there shaking his head. Tiny shakes because he didn't want anyone to see. No.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. He said it was the first time I ever saw anybody shake off a pickoff sign. Can't do that.
It's the pitcher that shakes off the...
Yeah. He said it was in the 63 series that he lost a throw from third base in the shirts of the crowd, and that he was the go to the game. Now he didn't want to handle the ball any more than he had to. Just for the hell of it, I gave him the sign a few pitches later. I wanted to see if he'd shake me off again. He did. Don't throw it over here. Just let it happen. Fine. Shaking me off. So in both of his World Series appearances, 63 and 64, he hit 154 in both series.
Oh, no.
Not good.
Disaster.
Yep. Here's another thing from Ball 4 where he describes finally the hair pieces of Pepitone.
Okay.
His hair goes real quick and Joe replaces it.
Yeah.
So he said, quote, in the bullpen, Fred Talbot revealed an awful truth about Joe Pepitone. He has 2 different hair pieces.
2 different ones.
He's got a massive piece, which he wears when he's going out. That's his big puffy one.
It's showpiece.
That's his peacock feathers right there. Really lets those pop. And a smaller one to wear under his baseball cap. He calls it his game piece.
His gamer.
It's my game piece. Here's my gamer. Takes that off, puts on the going out piece, which is fucking hilarious. How great
Holy
is that?
shit.
On opening day, he was wearing his game piece, and he hadn't put it on very well. So when he was forced to take his cap off, there it was, sitting on his head all askew. He was so embarrassed, he tried to hide his head in the shoulder of the guy standing next to him. He was like, yeah. Pepitone took to wearing the hair pieces when his hair started to get thin on top, and the hair he still has is all curly and frizzy when he lets it grow long. Yeah, no shit, Joe. I get it.
Duck. Oh,
I get it. No, I don't mean that. I think it's guinea hair. He's just got curly guinea hair. That's all.
He
doesn't
frizzy,
mean it like
right?
that. Yeah,
like
frizzy.
The baby duck hair, like
no,
frizzy
like
frizz,
like a fucking guinea
Fro?
has.
Okay.
Yeah, we get some frizz going and some curls,
Shit.
and Joe had that for a while. He had the real curly.
But it's thin.
Now it's thin. Now he's just got like 8 long curly frizzy hairs, which is bad.
No.
Not good at all. He said so when he lets it grow long. So he carries around all kinds of equipment in a little blue Pan Am bag, little airline bag.
Pan Am bag.
That's so 60s. Things
Jesus.
like a hot comb, various greases and salves, glue for the hairpiece, hair straightener, even a hair dryer.
God damn it.
He carries it wherever he goes, on the buses, to the park, on airplanes. You never see him without that little blue bag. At any rate, one day, Fritz Peterson and I, who we know about, that's the guy who traded wives with the other guy. There's a Patreon about that. A bit bored during the game, we were winning by about 6-2. So the guy's out in the bullpen. They're not going to pitch. And
we got some room.
Yeah, we're going to win this game, and we're bored.
Yeah.
So we went into the clubhouse and filled his hair dryer with talcum powder.
Oh, no. He's going to blow that shit all over his face.
Everywhere. Then we cleaned it up, left it where he had, and went back to watch the game.
Yeah.
By this time, it was 6-3. And then they tied it up.
Oh, shit.
And then we lost 7-6 in extra innings.
Fuck.
And one of the reasons we lost is that Pepitone struck out in a clutch situation.
Oh, Joey P., you deserve it.
Oh, no. So everyone was tired and angry and upset, and you could hear a pin drop in the clubhouse because after a loss, that's the way it's supposed to be. No one's supposed to be having fun and partying.
I guess he takes a shower.
After a while, Pepitone came out of the shower and turned his hair dryer on. Whoosh, instant white. He looked like an Italian George Washington wearing a powdered wig. Oh, my God. Oh, God. There was talcum powder all over everything. His hair, his eyebrows, his nose, the hair on his chest. Of course, everybody went crazy. Loss or no, they all laughed like hell. To this moment, Pepitone never knew who turned on the powder. He always thought it was Big Pete Sheehy. Wrong again. So,
not Pete.
Oh, man. So here's an incident where he's on the road, and when he's on the road, he likes to call home and say goodnight to the kids and say hi to Barbara and all that kind of shit. Plus, he's jealous. He wants to check on Barbara.
Oh, boy.
So a lot of times Barbara will be like at her mom's house or her sister's house or something, so he'll call there. He said one night she gave him a number of where she could be reached. Yeah. And he goes, I know this fucking number. And he looks it up in his phone book, and it's a guy in the neighborhood that he knows.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, this son of a bitch. So he calls and he goes, what the fuck are you doing, Barbara? And she goes, oh, Joe, calm down. And he says, no, I know where the fuck you are, and hangs up. Okay. So he said she hung up the phone. I slammed down the receiver and went back into the all but cleared banquet hall. Blackie Gennaro, who's obviously a gangster, who handles all the blacktop paving around Youngstown.
Oh, boy.
Because he's in Ohio at this point, so he can't even go over there and confront this situation, who ran the banquet, saw that I was depressed. What's wrong, he asked.
I told him to tell you.
Gee, Blackie, it's a lot. I went down on her. Don't tell anybody. I told him briefly what was going on. Earlier, he had told me that he was going to Florida in the morning and that he had asked me to join him. I told him I couldn't and that I had to get home. Now he said, well, shit, man, don't go home angry. Come on down to Florida with me for a few days. Relax and get away from your troubles. I don't have any clothes with me, I told him. No problem. It was almost 2 o'clock in the morning, but Blackie called his tailor. In 15 minutes, we met him at his store, Lord Chesterfield Clothes.
Oh, my God.
Only a gangster's getting somebody to open, a tailor to open a shop at 2 in the middle of the morning, middle of the night. Blackie gave me 2 suitcases and filled them with 4 suits, slacks, socks, shirts, underwear, shoes, about $1,000 worth of apparel back then.
Yeah.
By noon the next day, we were in Miami.
Unbelievable.
We were supposed to stay 2 weeks, but we were partying every night, and I think we might have stayed forever. About a month later, 2 private detectives knocked on my the door of my room. Your wife's looking for you, Mr. Pepitone. If you don't get home today, you're going to be hauled in and charged with desertion. She couldn't find him. He's just disappeared.
You're a deadbeat dad already.
Yeah, you're going to get, exactly. Just to pay bills.
Yeah.
Throughout the trip home, my head was all messed up. What am I going to say to the kids? Being gone a month in the off season, I knew it was time to end the marriage, but how could I give up on my kids? How could I leave my little girl and my son? The big thing in my mind was, no matter what happens, when you get there, don't let anything hurt you. You've got to push aside any pain and say, fuck it.
Wow.
So she cheated on me. I'm okay. I fuck different girls every night. So I went home with a head that was scrambled, not knowing what to expect. What I would do, except that I was determined not to let anything hurt me. I drove up to our house, and sitting on the front porch were 6 suitcases full of my clothes.
She's already packed you out, bud.
Well, the suitcases were open to the weather, lying flat.
No, for the last 4 weeks?
Yep. I bent down and looked at the clothes, which were mildewed, moldy, as if they'd been there for weeks, as they have been.
Yep.
Will you look at this shit, I thought. I tried the front door, and it was locked. My key wouldn't open it. Barbara had changed the lock.
Yeah.
I kicked in the door and walked into the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barbara came running in from the kitchen carrying Joseph in her arms. What the fuck is the matter with you, I asked. I want a divorce, she yelled. Why, I said.
What?
Why?
You know why.
I think you know why. Let me show you this private detective bill. This is why. Fucking, are you kidding me?
I think why is very obvious.
Yeah, because that guy believed your foreskin VD joke. That's why.
Yeah,
he believed you.
Popcorn in your foreskin was believable.
Believable. That's why. I said, it occurred to me that it wasn't a very clever question, but I didn't dwell on it. Barbara started screaming about my behavior, all my fucking around. What the hell are you talking about? I yelled.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about.
What fucking around?
Wow. I want you out of this goddamn house right now, she screamed, for good. And he said, I salvaged the clothes that weren't damaged, closed the suitcases, and tossed them in the trunk of my car. I had just slammed the lid when Eileen came running toward me from next door, her arms outstretched and tears in her eyes.
Screaming, Daddy.
Daddy, don't leave, she said, hugging my leg. Daddy, don't leave. I'll never see you anymore. She was crying. I knelt, hugged her to my chest, swallowing the choke in my throat. I'll be back, sweetheart, I told her. I just have to go away for now, but I'll be back to see you. I love you. Don't cry. She was only 2.5, but she knew. She knew. I cried all the way home to my mother's in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that ain't easy.
So he goes to his mother's in Brooklyn, and then he ends up moving in with some other guy in some apartment in the Bronx, and he's like, now it was time to really party, is what he said. So
what?
Now he doesn't even have to worry about checking in every once in a while. Now he can do whatever the fuck he
All
wants.
bets are off.
Jacked.
Jesus.
He said that he gets a call, though, from Barbara.
Yeah.
And he said she sounded hysterical, and I heard screaming in the background. She mentioned the name of a man who lived in the area and said, he's here in the house, Joe, and he's making Eileen cry. He won't leave. Joe, I'm afraid he's going to hurt our daughter.
I'll be right there.
Now, tell any guy that. They're a-coming.
It's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
Shit's
Trust me.
about to go down.
You tell a 1965 Brooklyn Guinea that.
Yeah.
He's fucking loading 8 guns is what
a
he's
man
doing.
With thin socks and loafers?
Yeah.
Oh,
thin
boy.
socks, loafers, and his going out hairpiece on. He's ready to collect some fucking scalps. He took his going out piece and put his gamer piece on, and that's when he knew he meant business at that point.
This one will get less blood in it.
Yeah, this is better. It's going to be easier to clean. I got so upset I started trembling. I jumped in the Corvette and stood on the gas, 90, 100 miles an hour.
Be there in a sec.
Be there in a minute, yeah. I made it from Brooklyn to River Edge, New Jersey in about 25 minutes. I screeched up to the house, ran to the door, and didn't even try the knob. I kicked it in. He didn't even try to see if it was open.
It may be unlocked. Who gives a shit?
Who cares? He didn't even, never mind knocking or, it's locked out, then I'll kick it open.
Yeah.
No, fucking boom. I don't care
Even
if it was
if it's
open.
unlocked, this looks way more menacing.
If the door flies off the hinges and you're standing there in the dust cloud when it opens, someone will go, oh, shit, I'm in trouble.
That was unlocked.
Oh, shit, yeah. I left it open for you, Joe. Standing in the living room was a man in his 40s. He was arguing with Barbara as I burst in, and my daughter was bawling, trying to knuckle away the huge tears rolling down her cheeks. I grabbed the guy by the front of his shirt, and for a split second, I thought I would kill him. I don't blame him. You'd try. You'd certainly try.
Yep.
You'd beat him till you were tired, whichever. Either
Absolutely.
I'm too tired or you're dead. One's coming first.
I'm too tired or you're too not alive.
Yeah. In that situation, I will beat you till my arms don't move anymore.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Whatever happened at that point.
You may be nothing. I don't know what's left of you. But,
Sorry.
Or you may still be okay enough to whip my ass.
If that's the case.
But I'm going to be too tired.
Shit. I better go call Vince at that point.
Yeah, I made a horrible mistake.
Yeah, I'll tell him you're trying to push in on my first base job. You'll really be fucked.
Terrible miscalculation. Your turn, sir.
Oh, boy. He said, I thought I'd kill him. I threw him away from me in disgust, and he fell down the 4 or 5 steps into the playroom. I stood at the head of the stairs, fist clenched, enraged, my mind swirling, and then the guy got up off the floor crying. I love her, he said. I thought she loved me and that she was going to marry me. He was crying so loud he couldn't talk for a moment. But she says she doesn't want to have anything to do with me, he sobbed.
Okay.
So now you don't even want to beat the guy anymore.
No,
now you're just like, this is fucking pathetic.
You're crying over a lady that I threw away.
This is just pathetic. I can't even get it up for her. What are you talking about?
How dare you be such a pussy about this?
Holy shit. He said, I turned to Barbara and said, I'm taking Eileen out of here. This is some weird shit you two need to deal with. The girl doesn't need to be involved here.
And I don't need my daughter around a weak son of a bitch like that.
No, this guy sucks. He said, I packed some of her clothes and drove her to my mother's place, meaning the daughter.
Eileen, yeah.
The next day, the police came and took Eileen back. So there's some police interaction for you.
Is that kidnapping?
He's fucked a 13-year-old, broke and entered. He's done a bunch of crimes here. This is the first time the police have actually been involved here.
I can't. That might be kidnapping, though. You can kidnap
I think
your
it
own
is.
kid. I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is. But it was probably like just get her back type of deal. I didn't technically tell him he couldn't take her, so it's fine.
There was some domestic violence happening when he took her. Are we going to press charges for that? Nah. Well, maybe we'll drop the kidnapping too.
He came over, kicked the door in, and threw my boyfriend down some stairs, and then took our daughter. That sounds like a
Breaking
kidnapping.
and entering, assault and battery, and kidnapping. That
sounds like a
pretty
lot.
bad. Yeah,
yeah. But he was really the one in the right, though. If you really look at it the correct way, you say, I called him.
Yeah. Sometimes Superman does the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes he fucks the house all up.
Yeah.
You know what? To save somebody, the firemen have to chop in a wall sometimes. You got to do what you got to do.
Lex Luthor's lair is fucked up all the time.
Big holes in the wall.
Yeah.
You think that any of the alarm systems work? No, they have to disable them. They'd be going off constantly. So, he said that a few days later, I called Barbara and I got no answer. I kept calling for over a week and nothing. Finally, I drove to New Jersey to see my daughter. When I pulled up to the house, I knew they were gone. Oh. There was a for sale sign in the front yard.
Yeah, you know for sure.
Wow. I went to the neighbors and asked. Barbara had taken the children and moved to her sister's in Oakland, California.
The other side of the country.
Jesus, 3,000 miles away. Jesus Christ, I thought I'll never see Eileen.
Yeah.
He's got a son, too, by the way.
Yeah, what about Junior? Sorry.
Fuck him. Don't care. He carries my name. Good enough.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the girl.
I got to keep an eye on Eileen.
Wow. I stayed with my mother for a week or so, but I couldn't stand it. All I could think about was Eileen and how far away she was. I had to distract my head, get some shit going so I wouldn't have time to think. I moved in with a friend of mine whom I'll call Mike Jackson. So This guy did horrible things. He won't even name him.
Yeah, I won't even get his real name because he's problems.
He's a lot of problems. Who owned a motel in the Bronx where he also lived. Yeah. Mike was a good guy, but he was about as careful with his finances as I was. He also had a wife and 2 kids to support in Jersey and liked to party. We piled up the bills between us. I couldn't wait for spring training to start, knowing my basic living expenses would be taken care of at that point, and figuring playing ball would help keep my head out of my loss. I was partying day and night, and I still had too much time to think. So, yeah, 65 season, the Yankees go to 77 and 85. Not the same thing anymore at all. Mickey Mantle only plays... he plays 122 games, which is actually not bad for a late Mickey Mantle season because he was injured a lot. Yeah, not too great on that season. Here's a story about their harmonica on the bus thing, which is very fucking funny here.
Happens?
Well, when you lose, you're supposed to be very, back in the day
Solemn,
anyway, you're supposed to be very solemn. And there's no phones or iPads or music anyone can listen to.
No, but you better be fucking disappointed too.
Hey, you better be sad, and the bus better be quiet on the ride to the hotel. So he said, the guy's never tired of ribbing me for my nose, which I couldn't do a lot to improve, and my hair, which I was constantly rearranging because it was leaving the front of my head. He said he needed some kind of something, so he said he got a harmonica. And he said at one point they're on the bus after a loss, and he said, I'm going to practice my harmonica. And so Phil Lynn said, you got to be shitting me. Phil said, Mickey Mantle sitting across from us, you better put that away. You know, whatever. We lost, Phil says, but there's no reason to cry about it. And so Phil started playing Mary Had a Little Lamb. And there was no question he needed some practice. Most of the guys smiled, which was good because the bus had resembled a morgue. But Yogi Berra, who was the manager at the time, sitting up front, got angry. He stood up and yelled, Phil, shove that harmonica up your ass. Christ, Phil said to me, we lost, but we don't have to act like we're dead. This is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Phil, I said, you got to do what you got to do, but you might get in trouble. So he brought the harmonica back up to his mouth and started playing again. This is from Jim Bouton's book, by the way. Yeah. This isn't from Pepitone's. Yogi hopped up and came storming back to us saying, I told you to shove that harmonica up your ass.
I mean it.
Why don't you do it, Phil said. Here. And he tossed the harmonica to Berra, who was furious, slapped at it in midair. The harmonica slammed down on my lower thigh, tearing my pants and scratching my leg. Phil and Yogi were yelling at each other now, and it was getting ugly. I jumped up shouting, Corman, I'm wounded. I was trying to get everybody laughing to break the tension and the vibes. Then dour Frank Corsetti, not one of the most popular Yankee coaches, stood up and yelled, God damn it, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in 30 years of baseball. That's the whole. And he says the next day the entire incident became a big joke, and Phil Linz ended up getting signed up to a harmonica company and getting $25,000 for a sponsorship deal, which was more than his salary.
Unbelievable.
So it was worth it to get yelled at there.
Yeah.
July 5th, he talks about 65 doubleheader here. 3-run homer, a double, a single, and in the first game of a doubleheader at Tiger Stadium. And then another one in the second game, had a good game here. Apparently, there was another. He's always fighting with the Tigers here. They said Joe Sparma, that's quite the name. It's almost Sperma.
That's too much.
Yeesh. Fired close shave pitches to Kubek and Pepitone in the first inning of Game 2, forcing them to the ground. Chin music, that's all. It was a continuation of bad blood circulating since 64 when, there was this one on before. Steve Hamilton answered in kind when Sparma stood in the batter's box, which triggered the untamed Tiger to take 3 bold steps in front of the plate, waving his bat as he went. Kubek tried to diffuse the tension by heading toward Hamilton, but Sparma seemingly invited his Yankee counterpart to continue toward him. When the Yankees' infield closed ranks, Pepitone sprang like a wind-up toy from right field with laser-like focus on Sparma. The Yankee bench completely emptied to prevent a disaster, so he attacked him, Pepitone did. Phil Linz was ejected for cursing at umpire Cal Drummond. That's fucking hilarious. Tiger fans responded to the brawl by hurling things onto the field, including firecrackers.
Oh, my God.
That's
Why do you have that in your pocket just at the ready?
At the ballpark, they used to do that kind of shit. Batteries, fucking firecrackers. That is wild shit. Apparently, umps, by the way, could give $50 fines on the field back then.
Wow.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. So
just trigger fines. That's not okay. Just
$50.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now they've got slow motion replay like that. they've arguably admitted that they don't have it right all the time. Why you can't just allow guys to be costing people money?
No, that's fucking allow guys to
as
be
much
costing.
as you miss strikes, you're gonna fucking decide who owes what. That's nuts.
It's one thing that then the league assesses the penalty or the manager gives you a penalty, but the umpire, hey,
the
fuck
umpire
you.
in the heat of the moment.
You just missed ball 3 on the last time I was up. Now you're going to find me?
Now you're going to tell me I owe you $50?
Suck a dick. He said, I do remember, this is Pepitone, many nights sitting in the lobby of the Mulebach Hotel in Kansas City between 11 and 1 because that was where the airline stewardesses checked in.
Uh-huh.
He knew where they stayed and when they came and waited for them.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good. You got to think ahead is what that is.
Listen, that's planning. A man that's been, that's a man that's struck out a lot.
And he's seen what happens. He goes about 11 and a couple of years later, 11 to 1. Yeah, this is where they come.
It is fascinating that travel makes people fucking horny, and that's their job. So the natural presumption is they're always horny.
They're horny too. I'm on the road and horny. So
I'm on the road. They've got to be. They've got to never not.
And back then, all the stewardesses were all single girls. They had to be singles. They were all under 26 and single. So I mean,
and on the road.
And on the road. Fuck
Niagara Falls.
Shit. It's Viagra Falls. Never mind Niagara Falls.
I am going to
hard dicks everywhere.
Give all of them a stroke.
Yeah, every last one of them, and fuck their limp side. He said 2 fine-looking girls would come in. I'd casually follow them to the desk, overhear their names and room numbers, go to my room and call them.
What?
That
is stalking.
That is wild. If you did that now,
remember me from the lobby?
10 minutes later, the cops would absolutely knock on your door
for
if you did
sure.
that now.
And they would be moving to a new room.
Yeah, they'd be checking your room for holes, for Aaron Andrews holes.
Unbelievable.
Checking for peepholes, looking for fucking
manifestos.
Check your shit for air tags. They'd be all sorts of. So he said, quote, "Hey, Michelle, you don't know how lucky you are, I'd say. The New York Yankees are staying here tonight, and there's a party in room 704. Can you make it?" And they'd say, "Yeah, sure."
And he's the only one there.
Beautiful. See you in 15 minutes. They'd knock. I'd open up the door, standing there in my shorts with Tommy sitting in the room behind me. They'd laugh and come in or suggest what I might do to myself.
What?
So either they'd fuck him anyway or they'd be like, ew, you're a scumbag, fuck you. He goes, either way, gave it a shot.
Somebody else will come in.
50-50. I'm going to go back down to the lobby. He said if they walked away, I'd get dressed and go back down to the lobby. That's exactly what he would do. Round 2.
She said, no, I'll be right back.
He said, I don't think it ever took more than 2 tries to acquire company.
2 tries.
Wow, so why wouldn't you do that, I guess, if it works?
If it works that easy, yeah.
And they're thrilled about it. He said the girls who flew into the Mulebach were fun, and Tommy was very understanding. The worse my head got, the more bizarre my escapes became. I'd bring a girl into our room at 3 a.m., and Tommy would be asleep until the bed springs woke him up. Then, very coolly, he'd sleepily raise his hand in front of his face and peek through his fingers at us. He was a fantastic actor. I'd be really into it, glance at him, and see him make a little signal, move over this way a mite so I can see better. I'd be laughing and bawling at the same time.
I am disgusted.
Mortified by this shit? Yeah. Here, I want to say,
if he wakes up, hopefully he'll watch. What?
Now you see my balls slapping against her better, right? Okay.
You can see it going in, right? That's what I'm doing.
Wow. He said, I love to party with groups. Oh, that's right. Yeah, move so I can see. I love to party with groups to direct the action with another couple or two. Pardon me, would you move your tongue down a little lower? Oh, fine, thank you.
God damn it.
If it was a good show, I'd applaud. If it was a bad show, I'd boo. It was fun while it was happening. I didn't think anything else of anything else during the performances. Just a great escape.
Unreal.
Jesus Christ. So
loves group sex.
He doesn't get. He just loves freaky shit. Whatever he can get his hands on.
Yeah, it went too far. So now he always needs it to be far.
He's only been on the road like 5 years, but it's
right.
Just, it's completely
it's
debauched him
the whole time. Yeah,
he just can't get his life together. So in July of 65, July 17th, 65, he gets fined and benched here.
Okay.
The newspaper says, quote, Joe Pepitone, the New York Yankees' uninhibited first baseman.
You have no idea.
You have no fucking clue here. He should have stuck with 69 as his number.
Yeah. I mean, what's the difference?
Wow. So he gets fined for reporting to the park late and failing to participate in batting practice. So he was in a severe slump, had been reprimanded and fined for arriving an hour and a half late to the ballpark.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's not good. That's a lot. So the benching only lasted one day. He put him in the lineup the next day, even though Pepitone had been 0 for his last 12.
Wow.
I feel great again, declared Pepitone. I've been upset and said a lot of things I shouldn't have, but I had a talk with Johnny and Ralph Houck today, and everything's fine. All I want to do is help. So, yeah, apparently it was a doubleheader against the A's. He was supposed to get there at 11:15 and got there at 12:25. So you got to find $100 each, and he just said, overslept.
That's the only excuse I've got.
He said, quote, honest, John, they didn't wake me up.
They didn't wake me up.
They didn't wake me up. And the manager said, I can't help that. That's going to cost you $100.
Yeah.
That's what they used to say. Who was it? Bill Watts used to say that, the old wrestling promoter who ran a territory. If you came in 5 minutes late and you said, well, the hotel didn't wake me up, he'd go, well, I can't find Marriott, but I can find you.
Yeah.
Sorry, you work for me. I don't give a fuck about them. Not my problem.
It's your responsibility.
That's tough. He said Keene, the manager, did what he had to do. He wouldn't talk about it except to add that the other guy is just as bad and he got it too.
Yeah.
It turns out that the desk clerk at the Stadium Motor Inn also forgot to give the other guy a wake-up call, but this guy, said he didn't. He didn't say anything. Pepitone, though, tells the newspaper, quote, I checked in there last night with my friend Lemon from Brooklyn, who is Clement Sebastopoli is his name, by the way.
That's Lemon?
That's Lemon, Sebastopoli. That's why he's Lemon. It's a lot easier. So he said, we had to promise the clerk we'd check out early because he needed the room. I said that was fine. I had to be up early. He was going to wake me up at 10. The next thing I know, the maid was knocking on the door, and it was noon. I didn't even wash. Look, I still got pillow marks on my face. I knew I was going to get fined. What the heck? They can't take this out of my check until 1976. I owe them so much. Says he gets fined a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not good there. And he went 0 for 4 also. So that didn't help. So not doing well. But people were trying, during the fourth inning, there was banners up. The Bronx loves Pepitone. Let's go, Joe. He said, I counted 6 in all. I've been getting a lot of them lately. My favorite is Calabria is for Pepitone. I mean,
what?
The Italian in Italy. Calabria.
Oh, that's a town?
It's a province in Italy. Yeah, Calabria.
Okay,
It's a place.
yeah,
Not a province, a city. Yeah, Calabria. And he said, that's central Italy. At first I thought they loved me. Then I realized they wanted me to go there. So it's
there?
for him. Yeah. Just go to Calabria. He said, they said, this is a newspaper, the fans alternately boo and cheer Pepitone depending on his performance. That's kind of how fans are.
That's called sports.
That's called sports. Wow. It was suggested to Pepitone that right field hadn't been so exciting since Roger played out there. Roger who, he said, meaning Roger Maris. Joking around. So there was one fan in right field who kept yelling, hey, Pepitone, hey, Y-O, which is it's an old-time thing that it's an Italian slur, but I don't know what it means really, but it's a thing that they always say, Y-O. Y-O. And it's I hear a lot of Italians will say it about other Italians, like this fucking Y-O over here. It's one of those. Yeah. So I don't get it.
It's probably like a without paper or something like that.
Something. It's like a WAP, but it's less. Yeah. But I mean, who knows? There's 100
It's something that has to do with,
a lot of different something. Yeah. He said, why don't you do something right or I'm going to come down there and bury you.
Okay.
And he said when Joe was trotting out for the fourth, that same sadistic individual was blowing him kisses, and so are others. Cleet Boyer said, I think it's great. His fans are more fun than we've ever had here. They even have a Joe Pepitone crying towel sign for when he's going bad. They wave it a lot. So, yeah. He, by the way, the hairdryer was a big deal. He's the first guy to bring a hairdryer into a major league locker room.
Really?
Because it was considered an effeminate thing to do. And he was like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I got to fucking puff up my fucking going out piece.
Yeah.
Eat shit.
NFL players are going to have tights here in a minute.
Oh, God, forget about it. It's no problem. He's an all-star in 65, by the way. 247, 18 homers, 62 RBIs. That is not a great all-star, put it that way.
Yeah.
But he's also a Gold Glover that year. He's playing the field well. So he's been up 3 whole years. He's an all-star every year. interestingly enough. The author of his book, by the way, said this about the writing process with Joe. He said, there was fun, a lot of fun, and Joe Pepitone is as honest in relating some of the funniest, most startling inside baseball stories that anyone has ever admitted participating in. And he is in bearing the most personal kind of truths. He's a genuinely funny man who can laugh at himself. Many of his early problems stemmed from his willingness to break rules if he thought he'd get a laugh. Often he would get caught. I think we all got in trouble for that shit. Sounds like my school years. He's still paying for certain indiscretions. One afternoon in the mid-'60s when he was with the Yankees, Joe was late leaving for the stadium. A cop pulled him over for speeding through the Battery Tunnel. Officer, I'm Joe Pepitone of the New York Yankees. Maybe you would like a couple of tickets to a game. And,
very nice,
which is what they all used to do back then.
Forget this.
I'm not a Yankee fan, the policeman said. I don't even like baseball. And he said, oh, you don't like baseball? And the guy said, no, but I love the football Giants. The New York Giants. And he said, hey, well, I'll get you a couple of Giants tickets. Give me your name and address, and I'll mail them to you.
Yeah.
And he did this whenever he'd get pulled over. He'd just drive like a maniac. The policeman did so, closing his traffic violation book. Joe drove on, throwing the policeman's name and address out the window. Fuck that guy.
Not a chance.
Recently, Joe got stopped for speeding on the West Side Highway in Manhattan.
What cop showed up?
Officer, I'm Joe Pepitone. I used to play with the New York Yankees. Maybe you'd like a couple tickets to a Yankee game or a Met game? Quote, never mind that shit, Pepitone. I'm still waiting for those Giants tickets you promised me 8 years ago. Here, I've got a ticket for you. Never mind that shit, Pepitone.
I'll give you some tickets.
You son of a bitch. That is fucking hilarious. He apparently, somebody came up to him one day with an autograph to sign an autograph, and he signed the autograph and went to hand it back to the guy, and he said, I don't want it back. Look at what it is. And it was papers.
He
just handed him the papers.
Served. Yeah.
Getting served. And he said that I started checking out every piece of paper before I accepted it from an autograph seeker, make sure it's not court documents.
I don't need that back. That's yours now.
Yep. He said, I got so many subpoenas I became paranoid. I'd see a guy with a piece of paper the size of a baseball card and wonder, do they make subpoenas that small? With my stats on the back?
Do they make them that small?
The other players would look out for me. Joe, that guy's a process server. I'd duck, hustle away. When I'd get a summons to appear in court, I'd give it to my attorney, and he'd go. And this was all about bills that were unpaid. He had no money.
Oh.
He's got no money. He's just racking up bills.
Running around.
A $600 bill from 3 years ago was now $875, and my lawyer would have to make a settlement. All my client can pay you is $230. He's flat broke. You can either take that or you can take nothing and get online to collect. You'll be number 384 on the line. The guy would take the money and run. Not even a thank you, he said.
Yeah. Not even a thank you.
Not even a thank you. He said it was a bitch trying to play baseball with all the worries about bill collectors. I thought any day one of them would run onto the field and serve me in front of 20,000 people.
Is that legal? Can they do that?
I don't think so. I've been a process server. They won't let you do that. No. I'd go up to bat. The pitcher would release the ball, and I'd see a bill flying up to the plate. Very distracted. He said, I think I lost about 3 inches of hair off the front of my head this season. And just worrying. And after a game, it would take me 20 minutes to get the remaining hair to cover the bare spot. I combed and combed to get it just right after one game when I hadn't hustled on a play in the outfield. Mantle was sitting next to me, rubbing ointment on his aching knees and watching me. When I finally finished and gave my hair a last pat, Mantle stood and mussed it with his ointment-smeared hand.
Just fucked it up.
Now he's got to go wash it again.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it, he said, that's what you deserve. He was right, but if it had been anybody except Mickey, I would have smashed him in the face. His hair is delicate. You don't understand.
Yeah.
He said there was a moment in '65 when I came close to punching manager Johnny Keane, the guy who'd beaten us in the '64 World Series when the Cardinals had become Yogi Berra's replacement, and Keane and I didn't hit it off from the beginning. Keane reportedly got upset in spring training when he heard I was after his daughter. I didn't understand why he was upset. Shit, I was after everyone's daughter.
I was trying to get everything.
Not your manager's daughter. Don't fuck her, probably. That'd be bad. So talks about losing more of his hair, too, and everything else. He said, by the end of the regular season schedule, I was literally disassembling before my very eyes. We had 4 games left to play in Boston, and I couldn't face them. I could barely face myself in the mirror, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But I felt it was something self-destructive, something crazed. It wouldn't do anything good to go out. I couldn't see any even momentary escape in partying. The party was over. I needed help. Wow. I called my 2 best friends from the neighborhood, Lemon and Fat John. Of course.
Here we go.
Fat John will help you always.
Yeah.
If
So
you got
Lemon.
a Fat
Lemon's
John
been
in your life.
Lemon's been there since day
through
one.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always there. And I called my Uncle Louie. If you got an Uncle Louie, I advise you to give him a run too. People I could trust, I could count on, people I was safe with. I told them all the same thing. He said, I'm in my apartment in Queens. I'm coming apart. Please come over here right away or you're not going to see me again. I need someone with me right away. Christ, he's suicidal. He said they all came within an hour, and I got sucked in and got myself semi-together. The club went to Boston without me that day, and Ralph Houck called. Ralph, I'm sorry, I said. I just couldn't make another trip with that man, Johnny Keane, the manager. I'm coming apart. I'm going out of my fucking mind. All right, Joe, take it easy, he said, seeming to understand. I'll call you right back. In 2 minutes, he did. Joe, listen to me, he said. You got to do me a favor. You owe me a favor, right? Right, I said.
Yeah.
Just to protect you from the club, let me put you in the hospital for the last 4 days of the season.
Okay.
So we don't look like jerk-offs when you don't show up for the game. This isn't for his own good. We don't want to look like...
This is for us.
Yeah, we don't want to look like you just AWOL'd the last 4 games.
Yeah.
No, Ralph, I'm not going in any fucking hospital. I didn't want people picking at my head. I just wanted to get through the last nights of the season, to get away from the hopeless goddamn season I'd gone through, and I figured I could work out that personal shit with myself. People who don't know anything always think that. But Ralph kept talking to me, telling me he'd appreciate the favor, telling me I could rest up and that I would feel better and that I had to be near exhaustion after the hours I'd been keeping for so many months. He finally talked me into going to Lenox Hill Hospital, and I went that night. I'm sure now in retrospect that his protect the club line was a ruse to get me to some shrinks to try and help me. I had so much ability, and the Yankees needed me straightened out if that was possible to achieve. I guess Houck wanted to know if it was too. It was great in the hospital. Loved it.
Yeah, that's a good play, too, because in that moment, he clearly doesn't give a fuck about himself. Maybe he gives a fuck about baseball and the Yankees. Yeah.
No, but sometimes he would have, if somebody says you owe me a favor, then you feel like you have to do that. That's weird. Yeah. Don't care so much about me, but God damn it, I do owe that guy a favor.
Yeah, and in
Weird
those moments, we oftentimes in that depression, you don't care about yourself, but you still care about others, and that's a portion of the depression is that I want to take this burden from you.
Well, you don't want others to dislike you. That just makes you more depressed.
Yeah.
So you would like these people to like you and feel like that you're not a piece of shit, because then otherwise it's worse. You're perpetuating it. It's bad. But it was great in the hospital. 4 days of total rest, and the psychiatrist came right away, a man and a woman. My mind was engaged with fooling them for the entire stay. Okay? They questioned me every day, and I really didn't tell them anything about Willie, about Eileen, about any of the guilt that was smothering me. I didn't even tell them about all the debts.
Wow.
What are your problems? Nothing. Feeling good.
I'm doing great right now.
Yeah. He said, I put the whole thing on Johnny Keane and baseball, and that it was fucking me up, and that I couldn't stand the regimentation, the authority telling me how to dress, how long to wear my hair, telling me everything I had to do like I was a child.
Uh-huh.
To put the other wig on, Joe.
Yeah.
What else?
Put the low wig on.
Yeah, come on. It's too much hair otherwise. I'm not a child, I told them. I'm 25 years old, and I'm a good professional baseball player if people would just leave me alone and let me play baseball and not lay a lot of bullshit on me that has nothing to do with baseball. I yelled, ranted, raved, and got a lot of shit off my chest. But none of the real shit. I didn't talk about any of the heavy stuff that was happening inside me. I'm not sure I understood even half of it then, but I knew damn well I didn't want anyone to know what I had done to my father and my own firstborn child, my little daughter. What I had done to my father.
Wow.
This guy can take anything and make himself guilty over it.
Yeah.
He didn't do shit to his father.
No, his dad did this.
His dad had a heart attack before he got shot, so he can't even say that him getting shot made his dad end up in the hospital. It's just fucking crazy. So that's fucking weird. So he said, I wanted them to think that except for a few superficial things, this guy is okay. Both of the psychiatrists kept walking out, shaking their heads as if to say, this guy is crazy, but not really, just momentarily disturbed.
Huh.
Momentarily disturbed. So, early 1966, late 65, he meets another woman.
Okay.
And this is a complicated one. He said, I met a tough, sharp, beautiful girl. The girl I would marry in early 1966.
Okay.
She was an actress named Diane Sandra who had appeared on Broadway with Alan Arkin in Enter Laughing.
Incredible.
That's wild. She was working as a cocktail waitress at the Pussycat. That's not quite Broadway.
Yeah.
And that's a different kind of Broadway.
Yeah.
And one day I gave Mike Jackson, quote unquote, his Bronx guy there.
May or may not be his name.
2 tickets to a game, and he showed up at the stadium with her. I saw them sit down just before the game started, and she knocked me over. I've got to meet her, I said to myself. He said, I went to the Pussycat that night and was introduced to Diane and came right out with some bullshit like, how would you like to go out with a star later? It was not effective with Diane.
Well, I'm here with Michael Jackson, so.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, he would have been 2 years old at that point, so I really hope not. But I'm fucking Jack Nicholson at the moment. He's not real famous yet, but something about him.
Yeah.
I think you're going to like it. I went in there every night when we were home after that and tried to get a date with her. 2 months later, I was still trying.
2 months.
Wow, so he must really like her.
And that's a good gal.
Wow, so late one Friday night, with the place jammed body to body, I was in there and she was waiting for an order at the service bar. I elbowed my way over, dropped down on my knees in front of her, and yelled at the top of my lungs, what the fuck do I have to do to get a date with you? How long do I have to stay on my knees to get you to go out with me?
Yeah.
She said, shh, you crazy bastard, in a half-whispered plea. Get up off your knees. I didn't move. I'll meet you when I get off. Just get up off your knees, she says. Just please.
Yeah.
I embarrassed her into going out with me. That's one way to do it.
That's been done before, but yeah, good work.
We stopped for one drink, then went right to her apartment, and I smoked a joint. I'd smoked marijuana occasionally ever since I was 17. He's a real early adopter on that shit, man, since the late 50s. Yeah. Diane was just an all-time super chick. Very deep, very sharp, much sharper and more mature than I was. I dug the shit out of her. I got her into bed and got right into it. As I finished, Diane looked at me, looked up into my eyes, and said, get your clothes on and get out of here. You are terrible. You are terrible.
Get your clothes on.
Fuck off. That was awful. You're so bad at this.
You thought that was good. Get out.
Wow. Yeah. That destroyed my ego when I got mad as hell, throwing on my clothes as fast as I could and cursing her.
It's not my fault you got a snapping gyro.
Yeah, gee, I can't help it. I can't help it.
I can't handle what you got. I'm sorry.
Take it as a compliment, will you? Jesus.
You're hot.
I don't know if it was that or he just wasn't fucking her right or wasn't going down on her, maybe. That's probably part of it.
He said when I finished, so I got a feeling that was fast.
Maybe, but I don't think he just did anything else. I think he just stuck it in her probably.
And probably just slammed away until he finished.
Yeah, I was like, well, there you go. As I walked out the door, I could hear her say, what a mistake. I had to go right back out on the street and find another girl to fuck to prove to myself that I'm good.
Wow.
Jesus. Actually, that wasn't the first bedroom complaint I heard. I was generally a mechanic in bed. Open up your legs, let me put it in, bang, bang, ooh, off, and that was the way it was. I'd ball a girl and I wouldn't want to be with her again. Thanks for the memory. I wanted a different girl every night, one after another, after another, after another, and every conceivable type. Blacks, whites, Puerto Ricans, Chinese, Indians, Serbo-Croatians, you name it, I'd surely love to try it. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Now, somehow he goes from get the fuck out, you're terrible, to look at this. Look at this picture in the newspaper.
Who is that?
That's Joe, and that's Diane.
That's get the fuck out, you're terrible?
That's get the fuck out, you're terrible. Yeah, look at them.
On a sled.
They're ice skating.
Okay.
And he fell down, and he's like, look at me, I'm a goofball. And she's acting like, come on,
she's like,
get up, stupid.
Maybe you'll fuck me later terribly.
Come on. Yeah, come on and fuck me terrible. That's his fiance.
How about it?
That's it's a newspaper article where he's all happy. That's the whole thing. And he says that his days of breaking the rules and living it up are over.
Really?
It's over. He said, the newspaper article said, Joe Pepitone not only is getting married, but also getting serious and trying to get rid of his reputation for being a hot dog at the same time. Hot dog.
Real tube steak.
Real tube. Oh, man, I missed that episode. I miss Mickey Dora. Old tube steak. This the Yankees want to see. This everyone wants to see because it could turn out to be the most startling switch since Christine Jorgensen. Christine Jorgensen was the most famous person who had a sex change by that point, by the way. The Ed Wood movie, Glenn or Glenda, was originally supposed to be the Christine Jorgensen story.
Go ahead and read that sentence again then.
Yes. This everyone wants to see because it could turn out to be the most startling switch since Christine Jorgensen. Since this fucking person chopped their cock off is what they just said, because that was not a known thing that people did. People did it a lot. It still happened all the time back then, but people didn't really know it happened.
Startling.
Startling. Ever since he began playing ball, Pepitone has been, well, to put it mildly, a high flyer. The kind of guy who liked to live it up, make every night New Year's Eve and not worry too much about tomorrow. He said, my first manager tried to warn me. He told me I had a reputation, even then when I was only 17. He said I'd better try to straighten out or that reputation would stick with me forever. I guess it did.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know I have a reputation. I broke a lot of rules, and now I'm fingered. That's not a good way to put it.
Oh, boy.
Well, you have to be punished for breaking the rules. And a $50 fine just isn't going to cut it nowadays, Joe. You got to be fingered. Sorry.
Then I'd be fingered.
I'd be fingered. If I don't hustle maybe once or twice, everyone notices. They look for me not to hustle. So he said, but now he's ready to go. He said, quote, that's all over with now. They've been telling me to get serious for more than 8 years. Well, now I am, and I'm all through with that Playboy stuff, too.
Okay.
Yep, they said, well, how come? And with that, he turned to his fiancée, Diane, a striking dark-eyed beauty whom he'd already presented with an engagement ring.
Yeah.
Quote, it's all for Diane, he said.
How about it?
How long you think that's going to last? I think I'm finally ready. I'm going to have a good year. Diane corrected, the best.
Oh.
He's going to be MVP this year, aren't you, Joey?
Oh, Diane.
I'm going to try, he said to her. Whew, man. She said she's always been a Yankee fan, and she said that she never had much. She didn't like Joe Pepitone as a player before they got together. She said, quote, I hated him. He seemed more interested in how he looked than anything else. So show-offy. I used to holler, get rid of that bum from the bleachers.
Also, terrible lay.
Also, the first time we fucked, kind of like he's playing right field right now. Lazy, bad, lousy. Pepitone tried to put a hand over his fiance's mouth, but it's the truth, he insisted. Then when he came into the place where I worked to see the other girls, all the other girls used to tell me stories about him. I didn't want anything to do with him. But I found Joey to be entirely different when I finally did go out with him. He's the most wonderful person I've ever met. I love her. I love him.
Yeah.
And I love her, he says. Maybe I took a lot of things for granted with the Yankees the last 2 years. Not anymore, though. Okay. I'm anxious to shoulder my responsibilities now.
Get after it.
Now I do the fingering.
Now I'm fingering everybody.
Yeah, she taught me all about it. It's important, apparently. I didn't realize the importance, but I apparently got to do that or it's not good. He said he talked about quitting baseball last summer, and he said, I was foolish to talk that way. After all, I have no college education. I didn't even finish high school. What could I do for a living?
Where are you going to go?
I'm a fucking dummy. I'm just a dumb guinea fucking moron over here.
I swing a bat. That's it.
Yeah, dumb Ginzo. That's me. What am I going to do? I got nothing else going on. You know any place looking for pizza eaters, possibly? I could do that.
Sucking pizza eaters.
According to the paper, that's what I got in me. So he said, I know how much baseball's meant to me. If it wasn't for baseball, I wouldn't have anywhere near as good a life as I have now.
Right.
I wouldn't be fucking this woman, I'll tell you that much.
That's true, yeah.
So he marries her in February of 1966, and he said they found him a financial advisor and an attorney, the Yankees did, to handle his shit. His debts amounted to something like $70,000, and his salary was $23,000 a year.
It's a 3 year salary.
That's wild, yeah. So he said all of his checks went to his financial guy. He would give me $50 a week to live on and use the rest to make settlements with all my creditors.
Wow.
Fucked. It took me 2.5 years to get out of debt. The first year I got $50 a week. The second year he gave me a tremendous raise to $60 and nothing extra. He was very strict.
Yeah.
He said that she did everything she could do to help Diane.
Right.
He said she had $4,000 saved when we got married, and she gave it to me. I had nothing coming in except the $50 a week spending money. Diane worked till she was a few months pregnant, and then I made her quit. When our daughter Lisa was born, after the 66 season, Diane went back to work to keep us going. We would never have been able to go out to have any fun at all if she hadn't worked as a cocktail waitress. But I was such a jealous bastard, I even made her quit that.
Really?
Wow. She seems like she's pretty down for you. Like,
True.
You know what I mean?
I don't think she's going to cheat on you.
No, and you know it takes a while to get her to fucking even go talk to you.
Yeah.
She'll tell you to go fuck yourself.
It's not easy to get her to warm up.
No, she's aloof. That's what you want. That's good.
Yeah.
You know, especially if she's going to be a waitress out there and guys are going to be hitting on her. It's a good, perfect. So he said, I'd go to the place she worked and I'd see her get hassled and I'd get pissed off. I couldn't stand to see guys coming up and hugging her, grabbing her leg, bullshit like that. She could handle it, get rid of the guys in a nice way without causing any bad vibes. I'd see that shit and challenge the guy and want to break his fucking head, just like my father. Yeah. Not great. So he gets the same salary in 66 that he had in 65, but as we know, he's only getting $60 a week anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, he's getting no fucking money. The Yankees
long spent.
Long spent. The Yankees finished 10th in the American League. They're terrible.
Jesus.
70, 89, and 1. Not good at all. Way different lineup now. Still Mantle and Maris, but Mickey's only playing 108 games, and he's 34 years old. Elston Howard's 37. I think he's a part-time coach by now. Yeah, it's bad stuff. Very bad stuff. So going rough. Still has problems in July here. One day, this is from a newspaper, one day Joe Pepitone was tooling along the Belt Parkway in New York when all of a sudden the cars in front of him weren't moving anymore.
Uh-oh.
And when this happens, there isn't much you can do except sit there. When the car in front of him moved again, it was like an hour and a half later, and Joe Pepitone got to Yankee Stadium 30 minutes before game time. So this is one of the big deals. He gets in trouble, and he gets fined $250 for that. So, yeah, he said that he got, you fined me? He's like, I got stuck in traffic. Everybody would have got stuck in traffic. He said, it doesn't matter. You're getting fined. So they're talking about all of his fines, and he ended up with $2,000 in fines in the last 2 years, his manager said, which he can't afford to pay.
No.
He can't afford to pay. And, he said he thinks people pick on him a little bit, but he understands. Yeah. He said, quote, if I'd have landed on this schnoz of mine, I would have torn up 3 yards of dirt. Because he said that he didn't slide, and they're like, why didn't you slide in this play? He goes, I didn't want to bounce on my nose.
I don't want to fuck up the field.
I'd have jacked up the whole field. We'd have had to get the grounds crew guys out there. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh man. So he sues New York City.
Really?
Also. Yes.
The city of.
Sues New York City for the 1958 shooting of himself in a school. That happened in a school.
Oh, great point.
Yeah. He sued the New York City Board of Education for $100,000.
Did he win?
He wanted $75,000, and his mother wanted $25,000 because of medical expenses and the loss of her son's services, claiming that the bonuses offered up to $60,000 decelerated to $25,000, and he didn't get signed for the same amount. So he said that the board's carelessness and negligence allowed the pistol on school grounds. So the state Supreme Court okayed the trial to take place. It is an all-male jury, and they vote unanimously against him somehow.
Because it's dudes.
Because it's dudes. Like, fuck you. Who didn't get shot in school? Relax, pussy. So this year he hits .255 with 31 homers and 83 RBI. He's 27th in the MVP voting.
Incredible.
I don't know how deep they go on that, really, but 27th.
That's amazing.
And not an all-star, though. Doesn't make the all-star team. But he is a Gold Glover again.
Okay.
He's a good fielder. He's not bad. Yeah. So he's hanging out at home with his wife, and he's trying to be a family guy, basically. Trying to do all of that.
Diane.
Yeah. But he said, I was even more crazed the second year of our marriage. We had some great times together, really nice, just the two of us. It was a new experience sitting at home and just enjoying being with a wife.
Yeah.
There was often a third party present, though, pot. We didn't have that many good vibes when I was straight because I couldn't sit still and could seldom relax. But when I was smoking dope, I'd relax and really listen to what Diane had to say.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested in what did your mother say again? Tell me.
Yeah.
Now I care. Yeah. He said, groove on her words, on being with her. Like, you're just groovy chick, aren't you?
It's crazy how, like, I can feel your words. Keep talking.
So nice, man. They're coming out in colors. Yeah.
So nice just talking.
Of course, he wasn't actually just doing that. He was also banging tons of girls on the side.
Oh, Joey P.
He said, I had the names and phone numbers of about 150 girls I'd been balling written on slips of paper in my cubicle at the stadium.
Shit. Yeah.
We had to clean out our lockers for the incoming football giants, and I put those slips of paper in a suitcase, along with some other things I wouldn't be needing over the winter.
Right.
Because those are baseball women. Yeah, this isn't off-season women.
Yeah.
I told Pete Sheehy, the clubhouse man, to store that bag for me at the stadium. I had to go off to a banquet right after the game. A limousine was picking me up, and a friend was dropping off my wife to drive my car home.
Oh.
I had another suitcase of clothes that I did want for the winter, and I told Pete to put that one in the trunk of my car.
Yep.
With my wife.
Yeah.
Fine, Joe, no sweat. No sweat shit. He put the wrong suitcase in my car.
Yeah.
I did the banquet out on the island and got home late that night. I opened our apartment door, and Diane was sitting on the couch with a drink in her hand, looking like she'd been crying all evening. Her eyes are red and puffy.
Yeah.
Laid out on the carpeting like a mad mosaic.
She's a genius.
Oh, man. Just probably with like, you're terrible, Joe. You're a terrible lay written out in tiny pieces of paper.
She tiled the living room with his fucking little black book.
Oh, my God. Were those 150 slips of paper with girls' names and telephone numbers on each of them. And among the batch were names of Diane's closest girlfriends I'd balled.
Oh, Jesus.
Joe. Jesus,
Christ.
man. For one of the few times in my life I couldn't think of anything to say. I just stood there staring at all that bloody evidence and feeling the pain on my wife's face creep into my stomach.
Shit.
Yeah. It would be like if at the Nicole Brown Simpson murder scene, they rolled up and OJ was still standing there wearing one glove where they picked up the other out of the fucking thing. That's the same look you have on your face. Uh-oh.
With a knife at his feet.
With a knife at his... Oh, shit. Jesus Christ.
Hey, guys.
Oh, my God. Diane finally got up off the couch. Sit down, Joe, was all she said. Uh-oh, you're in trouble.
Sit down, Joe.
Woof. Then she turned, walked into the bedroom, and closed the door. I walked through that sea of paper with the names scrawled on them, and every time I saw the name of one of her girlfriends, I felt a jab in my gut. I lay down on the couch, but I didn't sleep that night.
No.
So, all right, we're going to leave off right there with part 2. We'll finish up next week on part 3, where his career is going to come to a pretty abrupt end. He's going to go to Japan, I believe, a little bit, and he's going to have some criminal problems, and he's going to pose with his dong out, too, for a magazine. So he's going to be all nude. His pubes are bigger than his going out piece for his head. Just a huge mound of fucking mid-70s gin pubes. It's wild.
Unreal.
So,
what a story.
There you go. That is Joe Pepitone part 2. He is tons of fun, this guy.
He really is, yeah.
He did have sex with a child this week, though, and that's not fun.
That's a lot,
at all.
yeah. That's a bit much.
He could have gone to prison for that.
Yeah.
Even in the 60s, I don't think that was legal. So, not good. So anyway, tune in next week again for part 3 and the third and final part of Joe Pepitone. We'll finish it up no matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so much fun. Less out of his book now because that's just all fun establishment stuff.
Sure.
Establishing facts and all things like that. We'll get into some wild shit next week. If you enjoy that show, please let everybody know. Yeah. Tell everybody you know. First of all, social media helps a lot. You can follow us on social media. We're at Crime and Sports.
Yep.
And we're also at Small Town Murder on other platforms, so check us out there. Certainly listen to our other 2 shows, Small Town Murder and Your Stupid Opinions. You definitely want to hear those. Definitely also head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, get all the merchandise. Leave a review, 5 stars, some nice shit you can say. Say what you would put in your dick to resemble a venereal disease to fool a trainer. That would be hilarious. Just put fucking milk dud. That'll be funny.
Write the name of the woman that is friends with your significant other that you fucked.
Either one of those is fine. Check all that out. Keep doing it. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports is where you get all the bonus material. $5 a month or above, we got you covered. We got everything you get. All of everything we post for Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder bonus, you're going to get access to. Hundreds of back episodes, bonus stuff. New ones every other week, including this week, which for Crime and Sports, that bonus, we're going to talk about the Ohtani gambling disaster.
It's a bit much, yeah.
And how it was really brought. They haven't even mentioned that shit.
They skipped it. It's done.
It was out for 3 days, and they're like,
over.
"Up, it's the interpreter. Never mind, he's fine."
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Crack
he's still
the
a huge
case.
star. Yeah. Nope. Drawing an entire fucking half the globe to us,
Yeah.
please. No. So that, and then we'll talk about some other gambling things that are always more convenient for the league than the player. So we'll talk all about that, and that's a lot of fun. Then for Small Town Murder, we're going to dive deep down a rabbit hole.
Oh boy.
And a man spent like 20 years writing this book, and he thinks it's possible that Charles Manson is a CIA asset.
It's possible. Maybe.
That was doing all of this to further the cause of stifling the anti-war movement and making hippies look bad.
Yeah.
And it did exactly that. So if they didn't do that, I mean, they wanted that anyway.
Yeah.
Bravo to Manson.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about if they did, and some other weird CIA shit, too. We're going to go down a rabbit hole, conspiracy time. It's fun shit. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And normally I'd be saying, and you get your shout out right now, but you have no idea the last week we've just had. It's been
my life.
Very unexpected things came up. Plus, we've recorded 1 million shows and done a live show and just travel and broke our asses, and we're both sick. So
it's not easy.
I'm apologizing for Jimmie, even though I shouldn't, because I should say, how many shows do I get done when I'm fucking tired? But no, I'm just kidding. Honestly, Jimmie's been through some shit, and so have I. We both had a bad week, and when he said that, I was like, no worries, brother. Let's fucking...
Not this time.
Not mad at you in the slightest.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So you don't be mad either. You're all good. You'll survive till Wednesday.
I'll discuss you all shortly.
It's all fine.
Suspense,
I promise.
I promise.
So do that, though,
Yeah.
definitely. We do appreciate and love
For
you, and you
sure,
still get the bonus material,
Yep.
so I don't know whether it matters what the hell your name is. So there you go. Keep coming back and hanging out with us. Follow us on social media. Just go to shutupandgivememurder.com. There's a drop-down menu with all those fucking things right there. Keep hanging out with us. Join us next week for Joe Pepitone Part 3, live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.